Yo,
Yeah. All right. Do you know this shirt? Who do you think that is?
looks like Mr. Method Man.
METHOD,
No, who is it?
man.
No
It
nostalgia
is
to
meth.
this. Okay, word. He's like
It's
one of the
his.
best rappers ever.
It's his wire character, Cheese. Give me my
Oh,
cheese. Give me my cheese, man. Got
he
his
was in
cheese
that.
chest hair having. What's up?
He was in that show.
Yeah, man, he's awesome.
Why do I not remember him?
He's in. Doesn't come until season 3.
Maybe I just didn't see any of the
He's
episodes he was
in.
in.
He's in 3, 4, and 5. Meth can act.
I like Meth all around.
He's on. He's on one of the. He's really plays like a crooked lawyer.
Oh, yeah, he's got skills all around. I'm a fan. I mean, if we're gonna talk Wu
So,
Tang,
speaking of meth, did you see the video of Meth and Red at Summer Jam, Hot 97 Summer Jam?
no.
So the camera's behind Red and Meth, and they're out there doing 4, 3, 2, 1,
Okay,
and the crowd is doing nothing.
really?
It's
Like,
all young kids. They don't know.
oh,
who
they
Meth
don't
and
know the
Red are.
song.
There's like one dude out there with a fucking W up.
Probably in his 40s,
Yeah,
maybe
so
50s.
Meth put out a statement, and he's like, never again. He's like, these kids are just the generations past, something like that. You know, he was kind of civil about it, but it was like, how do you not know?
Well, I mean, the hip hop game has changed.
It's not even hip hop. It's fucking
I don't know
noise.
what it is. I'm not going to hate on it. It's not my cup of tea.
I sound like my dad. That's not music. It's noise.
Well,
My
technically,
dad-
it's music. I mean,
That's not a noise.
you can clap your hands, and technically, that's music. Technically speaking.
Wu Tang is fucking Wu Tang is Mozart compared to these new people.
Well, I think that's one of the major issues I have with it is, yeah, sometimes like I'll hear a beat and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a cool beat, and then I like try to get into like the lyrics and what they say, and it's garbage. It's just
And it
it's
sounds dumb.
nonsense. I'm sorry.
And it sounds stupid the way they rap and their voice is always changed.
Well, everybody uses auto tune nowadays.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's that. I think Akon kind of started that, and Akon did it really well. But yeah, there's a lot of overuse of that, and it's just
Oh.
there's just no message. At least maybe I'm listening. Again, I'm not listening to these people, but I just hear them mainstream. You know, whatever's on the radio, and there's no message. It's women or money, and that's literally the only things that they're rapping about for the most part.
Because you said auto tune, it made me think of a story. I saw an interview with T-Pain, and he was at the height of his game. He was on a plane or at a party, and he ran into Usher. And Usher, for the first time, met him. He's like, "Yo, man," he's like, "that auto tune." He's like, "You ruined music for me," and that put T-Pain in like he was depressed. He got depression after that.
Well, again, I don't think it ruined music. I think some guys did it really well. T-Pain, he's got a couple tracks I like. And yeah, Akon specifically was really great, I think, with the auto tune. But Akon can actually sing, and I think that's the problem. Like, just 'cause anybody could use auto tune, that doesn't mean you can sing. It doesn't mean you can rap. You know, I mean, anybody can use that.
Have you heard the song, the Kendrick Lamar diss track back to Drake, like the newest one that everyone was all bugging out about?
I think
You're
so.
like, okay, well you would know.
I've heard that he has a diss track on Drake. Whether I heard the actual song or not, I don't
Not like
remember.
30, but the newest one was like the one that put him in a body bag, I guess, or whatever they want to say. But it was terrible. I mean, some of the shit was, they were good punchlines. You know, he was getting him with real stuff, but the way he raps and the sound and the way he changes his voice, dude, it's so bad. I don't know how they consider that good rap.
Well, Kendrick Lamar is one of the big names that people bring up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if you want like a current rapper that is actually, you know, has something to say, you should listen to Kendrick Lamar, and he actually has skills. And I checked
No,
him out.
I don't think I disagree. I don't
No,
think
no,
he
that's
has.
what people have said to me.
Oh.
And I did listen to him, and yeah, I can tell that there's a lot more quality there than there is with many of these other rappers or whatever they are. But yeah, I just couldn't really get into him. I just wasn't really feeling his flow. I guess that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, given I haven't heard much of his library, but I have heard that the one when he's talking about how all Drake's songs are in A minor and he likes A minor, like that one. I laughed at times, but sometimes I was like, all right, he's almost got it. And then it's like it doesn't rhyme, it doesn't flow. It's just
Right.
I don't know. But anyway, he sucks.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go that far and say he sucks. Obviously, a lot of people like him, and a lot of rappers
People like Drake too, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
True. But I guess what I'm saying is like a lot of credible people that were either in the industry or involved with the industry have praised Kendrick Lamar.
I hear you, and I've heard that before too. I don't feel it.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling him either. But hey, no disrespect to Kendrick. He's just not my cup of tea, I think. While we're on the subject, before we move on, who's your favorite rapper? Do you have one?
Who's my favorite rapper of all time?
Of all time, yeah. Or maybe one of your favorites or a couple of your favorites.
Well, I think Big L is my favorite rapper of all time.
Okay.
And I think Nas is the best rapper alive.
No argument. Both of those guys are highly skilled.
And I would take, if I had to go by complete library, I would take Biggie over Pac.
I'm going to disagree.
You take Pac over Biggie? I'm
not a big fan of Biggie. I'll be honest. You know this. I just not understanding Biggie since the day he came out. And again, I'm in the super minority. Biggie is loved and well respected.
I get it. I was with you too for a minute because it's when you hear more than just Biggie or the well, State and Wealth is great. Yeah, like that. Those like popular songs, they're the worst. It's the other stuff that's really good.
Well, I can't deny that Biggie has. Go ahead.
When he does like crime rap, but that song with Meth is fantastic. He's always talking about doing deals, and it's almost a criminal rap, like New York, how it used to be.
Well, Biggie has skills, no doubt, and I like a couple of his tracks. I just prefer Tupac over Biggie. But yeah,
do you think Pac's the best ever?
No, he might have been the best ever had he not checked out early. He's one of the best ever.
Who's your favorite, and who's the best alive?
I mean, my favorite rapper is probably Cannabis. Just from his lyrics. I mean, that guy's blown my mind more times than all the other rappers combined. Half the time I'm listening to him like, is that even a word? And then I'll go look it up in the dictionary. I'm like, oh my God, that's actually a word. This guy's teaching me new words that I didn't even know.
I know Cannabis.
Yeah, I love Cannabis, man. Again, Cannabis will tell you himself in some of his tracks that his beats are not always up to par, which I think ruins a lot of his songs for me. But lyrically, that guy is the best rapper I've ever heard in my life.
You want to hear some hardcore Cannabis, just say so. And I come out the egg roll with 7 dead scrolls. If you can find a better flow, then I can find a dinosaur on the Galapagos archipelago. Hey, you shouldn't fall for the naivete. Lyrically, I'm the illest when my beats is okay.
I think his second album had the most bangers on it.
Yeah, probably.
And then I know the E True Hollywood Story one was trash because I got it.
Again, a lot of his tracks I don't listen to because the beats are just not my cup of tea.
He's got the old song with Lost Boys and Group Home, which is always a good track.
Oh,
you know it.
Yeah, that's my jam. That's my jam.
Yeah.
What is that song? Beast from the East, I think. It's like I guess it's like a take on Bam Bam Bigelow or something. But yeah, no, it's awesome. Anyway, yeah, he has the most skill as far as I'm concerned, just with raw talent, and his vocabulary is so amazingly vast. Like I said, Go ahead.
I have a lot of respect for Cannabis. We listen to him a lot. I wouldn't even put him in my top 10 though.
That's fair. I don't think most people know who he is, to be honest with you. He's not like a well-known rapper like Tupac or Biggie or Nas or some of the other rappers we've mentioned. But yeah, I really like him. I've been listening to him for a long time now, and he wasn't like my favorite off the gate, out of the gate, so to speak. But after listening to him semi-regularly for the last 2 decades or so, I got to be honest, he's my favorite. As far as go ahead.
The first time I heard the Big L Ebonics song that Bernie Mac played in my car, it was over.
Blew your mind, yeah.
Yeah, I was
so
Big
creative.
For life, man.
Yeah.
A radio is a box, a razor blade is an ox. Fat diamonds is rocks and jakes is cops.
And if you got robbed, you got stuck, you got shot, you got bucked. And if you got double crossed, you got fucked.
Just like, you know, not only just the lyrics, like what he's talking about, but the way he flows it together. It's very creative.
Yeah,
And
I was just
that's what
banging
cannabis
out-
is to me.
One of my favorite songs is "The American Dream." It's "Children of the Corn," so it's Big L, Killer Cam, and Mace Murder. So it's the three. Oh, and McGruff is on it, and one of the other guys that grew up with that's part of Big L's crew. But they're all from Eight Is Enough. That one track, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
well,
on
yeah.
the Big L album.
Again, Big L, what would he have done if he had not checked out so early? You know, again, he had a lot of skill. Lots
Yeah,
of
man.
skill.
I remember the day he died. I was me and the King of Munchkinland were working at the gas station, and Hot 97 was playing Big L at like 8 o'clock at night, and they don't do that. And I'm like, why the fuck is Big L on right now? I'm like, this shouldn't. I'm like, either he's blowing up or something happened, and then it's like, rest in peace, Big L, and they played it all night.
Yeah, I don't really remember him getting a whole lot of airplay really at all. Like even Ebonics, like was that on the air?
Only no,
I mean, we knew
was
about
only
it, but
on, like Stretch and Bobbito. But that wasn't until that was like trying to watch ECW. It was on like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
nights.
that's when Hot 97 was killer. At like I think it was midnight or 1 a.m. on like Saturday night. They would play like an hour of underground stuff, like new
Yeah.
songs that never hit the radio. That
Yeah,
was
Stretch
the
and
best
Bobbito.
time.
And they would bring guys up in the studio. Some of the best freestyles happened with Stretch and Bobbito. The Big L Jay-Z one, and then there's the long one with Big L, Mace, and Cameron. And I actually have that tape. I played it so much it broke. I scotch taped it back together. Yeah, and you have to hit fast forward real quick to get over the tape part.
Right, right.
I still have that tape. That and I
Oh.
have the Tony Touch 55 MCs tape.
These young kids, they don't even know about cassette tapes. Remember, you have to take like a knife and like stick it in there and like try to
Yeah, these were
rewind the
like
thing up
artifacts.
because all the tape would come all. Yeah,
Yeah, don't put me in your box if you shit these tapes.
exactly. Little Nas reference right there for everybody.
All right, word up. All right, since I started taking notes for this yesterday and not today, but it was the 80 years since D-Day. Did you see that?
I
80
did
year-
not. So
80
this is the
anniversary.
80-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Anniversary.
Yeah, of storming the beaches at Normandy.
I did see a video where there was like a bunch of soldiers escorting like a vet down to the beach, and then I saw another video of a vet. He was an older guy, so it was quite impressive. Who I guess was parachuting down to Normandy.
I believe he was 101st Airborne.
Yeah, I mean,
That's like Band of Brothers shit.
yeah. Well, he obviously was there, and he
Yeah.
was like reenacting, I guess, you know what he had done. He was an older fellow, so I hope everything went okay. But you know, jumping out of a plane at that age probably not a good idea. But hopefully everything went just fine. So yeah, I didn't know that's what today was about. So salute to
Oh, it
all
was
of those
yesterday.
people who laid down their
Oh
lives.
no, it is today. June 6th. That's today, right?
That's today. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it was today.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to all of those
The
brave
vets.
souls that.
Have you? Well, Memorial Day is to remember the ones who passed, right?
Yeah, but that's not just
Yeah.
World War II. That's everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you ever been to the World War II in DC, on the mall, the World War II memorial?
I went to the Holocaust Museum with you.
It was built after we went in 8th grade, though.
Oh, then I probably haven't.
Okay, it's cool. It's my favorite one. It's really awesome. That and the Korean one's really cool too.
Okay.
The Korean one's just like a squad of soldiers, and they're like walking through the bushes, and it's just like you know, like that blue copper that statues are like the bronze bluish that they come in when they're old. It's like 8 statues of, like, you know, they're all holding guns, and one's got the radio, and there's the lieutenant. up
Okay.
front.
Yeah.
So it's like them walking. It looks like they're quietly on patrol. You know what I mean? Like, you almost want to be quiet when you look at it, so they don't get caught. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. The mall's cool. It's just everything's so far away that you might as well want to rent a scooter nowadays.
I mean, I've been to several like World War II, museums. I don't think I've been to the one in DC, but I've
No,
been
it's
to
the
some
memorial. It's
before.
the memorial. It's out. It's got water
Oh, it's not a
fountains.
museum. It's just a memorial.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like
okay,
out,
all right. I
out
was
in the
wondering where
mall.
you were going with the statue, but now and that makes
No,
sense.
no, the statues is the Korean monument.
So
The Korean memorial, Korean War memorial, is the squad walking quietly.
Okay.
World War II is like think of like the crown, almost the two wreath crown. You know what I'm talking about? The little flowers is just like two of them that goes around like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, but if you look down on it like that, like one side's the Pacific Theater, one side's the Atlantic Theater, and then it's got a bunch of the states on the bottom and fountains. It's really nice. It's
Cool.
I think it's cool. I think it's the nicest one,
I'll have to check that out the next time I'm in the DC area.
and it's not too hard to get to. It's like in between Washington's monument and the Capitol building, and it's built low enough that you can not see it and still see from like the Capitol building to
To the
Washington's
monument.
monument. Yeah, it's like built strategically to
Yeah, so it doesn't affect like the
ridiculous.
scenery or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it makes sense.
So
Oh, by the way, before we get started, I mean, just
whatever.
since we were talking about music, so my brother's in a band. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to do a little quick shout out. His band name is Moonroof. This is his shirt.
Moonroof.
Just throwing that out there. Check him out.
They play around Philly a lot.
They do. Yeah, please and thank you. And if it's not your cup of tea, that's okay. But appreciate it if you guys would give my brother a follow. Anyway, I'll really try to hold plugs for people going forward. I just wanted to do that one real quick. So anyway, yeah, let's move on. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. What do you got to pull up first? What's there? What's the easiest one to pull up?
I don't know. What do you want me to pull up? I
Now
don't
do a
have it.
Berlin Wall. I'll tell you why. I don't know how I got into the Berlin Wall the other day.
Okay. Let's pull
But
that out.
something I was reading had to do with the view of the wall from the Soviet side, as opposed to the wall that we all remember with all the graffiti and the memorials and stuff.
Okay. And just to clarify, this is because the Berlin Wall, they tore it down, right? So this is an old
Yeah.
photo?
Yeah, they're all old. It's gone. There's a piece
Right,
of
okay.
it. If you go to, it might have closed, the Newseum, and like in DC, it's the Newseum. You get it?
Yes.
There's a piece. There's a piece of the wall in there. So I got to see that when I was down there. That was cool.
Okay.
Anyway, you can flip through the pictures,
Okay.
but like we all remember it like that.
What's
So
this?
if you look at it like this, you can just flip through and I'll tell you about it. So after the war, originally there was no wall at all. It was like there was a defined line, but it wasn't really enforced.
Right.
So the people on the Soviet side were working in the capitalism side of the West side, where the Allies were, and then the people who lived on the West side would go to the East side to get like haircuts and shit like that because it was cheaper.
Okay.
So that started to piss the Russians off. So they built like not a huge wall, more like a fence. You know, they started to enforce it a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, let me just cut you off real quick because again, I think that me and you like to assume that everybody has this information. So after
I'm gonna get to it. Just keep
Okay.
showing the picture. I'll get to it.
okay, I just wanted to explain what happened with the wall, but go ahead.
Right. So after so after World War II, they divided up Berlin east-west. West
Yeah.
is the Allies, east the Germans. So it's basically Soviets on one side, socialism, communism on one side, and free markets capitalism supposedly on the other.
Right.
So eventually,
East and
So
West
people-
Germany for those people who don't
Yeah,
know.
East and West
They
Germany
were
belong
actually
to-
two separate countries for decades.
after the war, yeah.
After the war, and then eventually they tore the wall down and reunited the country, or reunified the country. But
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
right. But yeah,
So,
anybody who doesn't know, Germany was two separate countries for a brief period in history. I remember even growing up and stuff. Like if you played video games or whatever, and you were playing like a soccer game, you would play against West Germany. It wasn't like just
Yeah.
Germany; it was West Germany.
Uh,
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
what was that company? They had dodgeball too. They had a soccer game and a dodgeball game that made the ball go all rainbow and it
Oh
would
yeah,
do stuff.
yeah.
And
Kunio,
Kunio,
the
that
Kunio
was right,
series.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was
games,
playing
Nintendo.
that game not too long ago. Here they called it Nintendo World Cup, but
Yeah, World Cup.
but yeah, in
Super
Japan it was known
Dodgeball
as
a
Kunio.
hit.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah, sure.
Dodgeball is knocking people out. I didn't even have to win the game. I killed everybody.
Yeah, you just kill everybody on the other team. You never
All right,
lose.
so eventually, people knowing that capitalism's the better way to live your life are now fleeing Russia and going across the line into the other side. So that's when the Soviets started like building up the wall. And every time something happened or they made a mistake and someone got through, they added another layer and they added another layer and then they added another layer. So they built the wall in a specific line, right? So if a building got in the way, they would knock the building down, or they made the building part of the wall. So any window facing the wall on the Soviet side, they bricked up, so you could not see across the wall.
Wow. So they bricked it up so you couldn't see it. Why did they not want? Is this like a North Korea South Korea thing where they're trying to not
Yeah, they don't want the people to know what's on the other side.
got you? Like, oh, the grass is greener over there. Let's go over
Yeah,
there.
what grass? You can't see nothing.
Well, yeah, obviously that sounds like that was the point of the whole matter. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So okay, so then if you say you want to stay in this picture, this is a good one. So I think you might be able to see some of the windows bricked up. Or is that the other side? Oh no, that's you're looking into West Germany.
Oh, this is West Germany, right?
Yeah. Keep going. Let me see what else. Let me see if there's a better one that I can start to describe the. That's the same one. Go back.
Oh, that's. I think this is the end of the line. I gotta go back.
Yeah, scroll back and still. All right, that one's good. Go back one more. We just passed it.
This one.
Yeah, that's fine. So if you're on the left side, right, the first wall there, you cannot see over. Okay.
This
Even
one.
if you. No, to the left.
This
If
one.
you want to if you wanted to escape Russia, this is the final wall, almost the final wall. You would have to first climb over that wall, right? But you don't know what's on the other side of that wall. Let me tell you what's on the other side of that wall. So first you have to jump up, climb over it, and then when you land in this shit called Stalin's grass, and it's basically just a wire mat with a bunch of nails sticking up.
Ew.
So when you land in a bunch of nails. Think of like Home Alone coming through the window. You're
Right.
gonna land on on the ornaments. You know what I mean?
Sharp things, right? With your bare
So
feet.
then,
I'm gonna kill that kid!
hypothetically, if you survive that, there's a barbed wire fence in front of you. If you look over on the left, there's a barbed wire fence. And now go back to the other one that shows the tank obstacles. Yeah. So this is a completely finished wall. So those are, I forget, these are designed to stop tanks.
Yes. They're famously on the beach in Normandy.
In Normandy, yeah. There's 24-hour watchtowers. The shoot to kill on site, and there's a lot of open land on purpose, so you have to cross. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a demilitarized zone.
Yeah, but it's like booby trapped and shit. So
Yeah,
that's what you
it's-
would have to run through to get out.
Yeah, it's like North Korea and South Korea, where they basically have a minefield that separates them, and it's a demilitarized zone. And if you go there, either side could shoot you, and it's like fair game. Not that
Yeah.
they
But,
all do that, but technically.
Yeah, so I was, for some reason, I got into what it looked like to try to get through. Like, well, I guess I was thinking of like Squid Game or some shit. How do you win the prize and get to the other side of the minefield?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
we were alive during part of that time. At least me and you were. You know, we were kids, but
eight.
eh, yeah, and I do remember how big of a deal it was when the wall came down. I remember it was all over the news, as you'd
Yeah,
expect. So yeah, it was a pretty massive event globally. Obviously, it was more massive for Germany than anyone else, but yeah, it was a pretty global event for the whole world. So, going back, hang on, I just want to read this real quick. So what is this?
it looks
Is
like
this is existing prior to the wall coming down, right? This is the wall, right?
yeah, yeah. On the free side, people drew on it.
Right. So like, so who is this supposed to represent?
It looks like Nixon, right? Nixon
That's who I
and
thought. Yeah. So is that Nixon and then who's it?
Gorbachev, maybe, or
Maybe.
whoever.
I mean, obviously it seems like a parody
It's
comic of sorts.
no, who was before him?
Who?
Um, oh God, I know this.
Who? Gorbachev?
Yeah, who was before him? Khrushchev. Was it Khrushchev?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really remember.
All right. Anyway, I don't remember. So some asshole with glasses. That's who he's kissing. All right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, got all. Yeah, here you're leaving the American sector.
Odd that they called it the American sector because technically it's in Germany, regardless of
No,
what side you're on.
Germany was divided into four sections. Three Allied. There was a French, an American, and an English designated section,
Oh,
and then the other side was all Russian.
oh, I didn't know that.
So there was three zones. It was the hotbed of like statecraft and spies and shit.
Okay.
This was like the hot spot to be if you were in the CIA game.
For sure, and I'm sure there were quite a few
Look,
CIA
look how open
officials
that
over
is.
there.
Like even if you can get over the wall and past the spikes and over the barbed wire, you got to run 100 meters in open terrain with crack shot marksmen
Yeah,
to try
without
to
getting
find the
shot.
wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a high risk to take to leave. So it goes again. It goes to show you like what value of life these people had that they were willing to risk that. Not all of them, of course, but
Well, did you ever see the movie Spy Game
I think so.
with Brad Pitt and Robert Redford?
I think so. I think I
So
saw it a
the-
while ago.
Yeah, so they're working in like Prague, but same kind of scenario, trying to get people out of to the west to get the secrets out of Soviets' hands. If you go to the Spy Museum in DC, you'll see a lot of the old gadgets that these guys use to get information back and forth across these walls. I mean, these are the dudes who invented putting the microfilm inside your shoe. You know, they invented the little bitty cameras and all that crap. And today it's obviously like super technical, but back
Right.
then you had to like smuggle it out on your person.
Could you imagine what they have now? Like we're watching all these sci-fi movies. Like, you ever see Minority Report, for example, with
Yeah.
Tom Cruise? There's that one point where like they send these little robot spiders into the building to identify everybody. I mean, they're tiny. They go right under the door and everything. Do we have that? And if not, like, how far are we from developing that?
Well, I got a story for you. When I was in grad school, I had to take a cybersecurity class. Not like how you guys took it, like coding and like that kind of security. More like game theory, how to like do that kind of shit, right? As like not the actual coding and the making of the stuff, but
Right.
so he told us a story about, I think it was the Chinese were spying on us. It was our meeting, but it wasn't. It was like in a secure room, but not super secure. But nobody had their cell phone. There was no computers, none of that.
Yeah, Skiff.
And Yeah, but not like the sound, not the super soundproof ones. This was a while ago.
Okay.
That maybe we did it to them. Either whatever the story was, is that they hacked into the building's temperature control, and they could tell what people were saying based off something that vibrated inside the thermostat. And based on the vibrations, they could tell you what the conversation was, and they heard the whole
Wow.
conversation.
That's crazy.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. But yeah, man, it really. What do we have? What kind of technology do we have available that the general public doesn't even know about?
Well, you got to think that facial recognition's light years ahead of what they show us.
Oh, absolutely. The biometrics that we're using, they developed that shit probably 40, 50 years ago. They've known about this. It's just new to us. I mean, even the internet. When did the internet? Go ahead.
They have experimented with like building drones as small as mosquitoes and shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, again, Minority Report had this, and yeah, it was science fiction, at least to the general public 20 years ago. Is it still science fiction?
Yeah,
or was it even science fiction then?
It was a Minority Report, like the 3 chicks in the water and their brain was sucked up to the thing.
Yeah. It's not the premise of the movie. It's just one little particular part where they use these little robotic spiders, to basically... Go ahead.
You can definitely see signs of the technology based on the movies. Like, did you see Gerard Butler, and he's saving the White House movies? There's a couple of them.
No.
White House Down and Angel Down.
Oh, there's like a whole trilogy or something?
Yeah, like he is the head of Secret Service, and Morgan Freeman's the president, right? So he saves them, and then he saves them, and the third one, the way they try to kill the president is like it's a drone swarm attack. Like, a couple 100,000 little bitty drones that came in and did.
Yeah, like a swarm of bees that are just mechanical. Yeah.
Which is kind of what they're doing in more close combat stuff now.
That's scary stuff, because now you can literally assassinate anybody, again, in their home. It's not even like breaking and entering. They go right under the damn door. That's some Black Mirror stuff. I don't know if you ever seen the show Black Mirror, but
I've seen a bunch of them.
So it's actually disturbing, because recently I saw a video of these. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're like little robot military dog type things. Have you seen those? Well, Black Mirror did an episode on that years ago, and as you could possibly guess,
they're old. They were invented by. It was originally brought in by DARPA. You know what DARPA is?
I've heard of it.
DARPA, Department Advanced Research something, right? It's super sci-fi shit that the government funds. So we hire scientists for them to figure shit out, right? As opposed to like them figuring it out and making money. And I'm kind of guessing that like this is probably what we do with our industrial spying. Like if we find out that they're doing something, because the Chinese can steal from us and just give it to their companies. You know what I mean? They do that all the time. I'm sure
every country does that.
We technically can't. Like the CIA can't technically spy on the Chinese, find out they have a new missile, a new computer chip, and then give the chip to Microsoft. And Microsoft's like, oh, look what we made. I think so. They kind of give it to like DARPA, and then DARPA kind of fucks with it. Because that dog thing is old, and then they sold it, or it went to a robotics company, and that's where it's made all the advancements. Because now it's like a person who can like tumble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, this is scary stuff, man. Really scary. So, like, yeah, the idea is that, hey, we invent robots so that, we have to go in and, defuse a bomb or, get terrorists or whatever, then we don't put any people in harm's way, which is solid, and yeah, that's true. However, what happens when they turn these dogs loose against the general public? For whatever reason.
Or like the little dog thing you're talking about. One of the original ideas for it was to almost be like a modern day version of a mule for guys humping backpacks through terrain.
Right, for
You
something
put-
like practical and like beneficial to humanity, but that's not what we're building them for. They're war
You've got a bunch
machines.
of guys out in their backpacks carrying, hiking up a mountain in Afghanistan. You can put a couple of 100 pounds of equipment on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I get that. And again,
And
that's
then
another selling point for them to be like, "Hey, this is okay. This is a good thing." You
Right.
know.
Well, even because that's just the way it goes. Everything eventually gets thought of in the military context. Because first it's like,
Right.
oh, it can carry 400 pounds. I wonder if it can carry this 50 cal. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my concern. And some of the dog videos, again, I'm just calling them dogs. They're not really dogs. They're
I
machines.
call them dogs too.
They're machine dogs, right? And some of them, they have guns on them already. I've already seen it. And the crazy thing is, right, is like, yo, this is some Skynet shit, right? Yeah, it's run by humans, but it's Skynet.
Exactly. It's Skynet.
So the thing is that like when you go and watch like the Terminator, for example, right? Like watch like the old Terminator movies or any kind of like android cyborg type thing, right? And you see like, oh yeah, humans or whatever, like we're literally gonna have no chance. Like you take an AI machine, right? That machine, when they aim their gun at you, it doesn't miss. Period. Ever.
Yeah. All right. But I think you're getting a little far ahead for
Well,
us.
that's my point. Am I?
Awesome.
What do we have?
But who do you think like the robots are gonna like suddenly become aware and fight us?
No, I'm not concerned so much about AI. I mean, I am, but no, I'm concerned about, say, you have a government, right? Like a government that's malevolent and they want to do whatever they want to do. What's to stop them from using these on their own citizens?
Well, nothing's ever stopped the government from using anything on its citizens.
And that's my
before.
point. That's why I'm concerned. So again, like it's fine if we're using these machines to, carry things
Well,
and
look at it this way. Look at it like this. There's always going to be a way around it, right? Because the argument was the Americans can never beat the British, the most powerful force, with their ships and their cannons and their well-trained redcoats. And then the Vietnamese will never stand up against the Americans, and the Afghanis can't possibly beat the Russians or possibly beat the Americans.
yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
those are human beings. That's one human being versus another, or groups of
What-
humans versus another.
What I'm saying, no, but what I'm saying is that one side is superiorly powerful. The Afghanis had no planes, no bombs, no tanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand what you're saying, but my point is that you take one Terminator, right? One of them, and you put them in a room with 50 people. That Terminator kills all 50 people. It's not even a. It's not even like, again, the computer doesn't think. It automatically knows exactly where to aim. It doesn't miss. Shot, 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 shot. All headshots, all dead.
Right.
So now that's one machine. Again, hypothetically speaking, against 50 human beings. What happens when there's 100 of these machines?
Well,
1,000, 10,000.
People adapt, Paul.
I'm not saying that people won't devise a way to combat some of these machines, but is that not concerned? Am I the only one that's concerned about that?
Well, no, because I'm trying to look at it like you're like, oh my God, this advancement in technology is so crazy. When 100 years ago, the machine gun was fucking nuts, and look how many people the machine gun can kill. In World War One, we're mowing people
Yeah.
down.
Yes. Go ahead,
Hold
go
on,
ahead.
until they figured out a way to get around it. So if you got a robot who's running around with the thing, how come you can't just be like, boop, and the radio signal turns it off? You know
That's
what I mean?
possible. I would think that the people that are building these things have likely already thought about that, especially once it hits military hands. How can we stop this from not being turned off, not being hit with an EMP, not being whatever? I don't know, man. I really wonder about what they have, and it's concerning to me. That now that we're putting weapons on these machines, I'm concerned. What are we using these things for? For the good of humanity or to kill people? Because it looks like the second in this case. Anyway,
Why do states do anything? You know what I mean? It's a constant arms race. It's a
yeah, I
constant-
get it, but at what point do we draw the line? Even AI,
a line,
right?
a line for what, man?
A line that we say, hey, this is too far. Like we shouldn't build this.
Who says it's too far?
Well, again, it depends on who's behind
Who's
it.
going to say it's too far?
Well, again, that's what I'm asking. Like, at
Well,
what
if
point
it-
does this cross the line?
Okay, well, let's say the Americans are like, that's too far for us. We're not going to do that anymore. And the Chinese are like, well, fuck you. We're still going to do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We have robots and we're going to use them. So when it comes to the world order, there is no state. It's a multi-state world. It's a multi-power world. You know what I mean? So we
Yes
can't be
and
like,
no.
oh, look at real. We have a Geneva Convention. We're supposed to have rules to war.
We're supposed to.
Exactly. So, so if we have the line, right, the line that you're talking about, where's the line? Supposedly, we've already had 30 lines, but people do people shit, and people keep crossing those lines.
Right. So at what point is it's like, okay, you crossed the line, the international tribunal is going to hold you accountable, right?
Who's the International Tribunal?
It doesn't seem to exist.
It doesn't
So
exist. Because
again, look at
we've shown nothing but if we don't need the UN's permission to do what we want to do.
no, the U.S. does whatever it wants anyway.
Exactly. So where's
Is that okay?
Power? No, who cares?
I
But
care.
where's the- You're way off on topic, dude. I'm talking about who you're trying to this international order. Who is going to enforce it? Who? It doesn't matter if you know what I mean. I
So
don't
what's
like it.
the purpose of the Geneva Convention?
So you're not supposed to do fucked up shit to each other's soldiers.
Right. And what happens if you do that? War crimes, right? What happens if you
Okay.
commit war crimes? What
Who,
happens?
who pays war crimes?
What's that?
Who actually has paid a war crime? The dude from Serbia.
Right. Not many.
Because he's-
Right. Not as
because
many
he's a little-
people as they should have.
Right. Because he's a little peon country that the UN can tell what to do.
Right. So I guess my point with at least as far as like this recent topic goes is so the Geneva Convention, right? So if there's nobody there to enforce it, right? So like Netanyahu for right now, right? He's being accused of war crimes, whether they're true or not, that's on you. But he's being accused of it. So let's just say hypothetically speaking, that he's violated some Geneva Convention laws.
Okay.
What happens?
Who's going to
Anything?
get him?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Here's what even better. He's coming to America to speak to Congress. Are we going to arrest him when he lands in JFK or in Dulles or wherever the fuck he lands? 'Cause he's the
Well, we're
president?
not going to arrest him because he's buddy with our government.
But
Should we
technically-
arrest him?
Hold on. Well, technically, because we are signed up for the Geneva Convention, anybody doing that kind of shit is supposed to be arrested anywhere that's a country is part of that agreement. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anybody a part of that agreement, if if a person committing war crimes comes to your country, you're supposed to arrest them.
Right. It's amazing that many of our leaders can go anywhere and not be arrested. It's incredible to me.
Well, who's going to enforce it? Who? You know what I mean?
Well, apparently nobody.
Exactly, because that's just how power works. So let's
Right.
accept the fact that that's how the shit works.
Well, look, we're American citizens, right? We can't control China. We can't control France, Europe. That's up to the citizens of those nations. I said Europe, but you know that's up to
Whatever.
each nation to worry about, right? So my question is, at what point do Americans say, you know what, I think we crossed the line? Now your argument is that well, China crossed the line too, so we should cross it to equal China. No.
My
Okay.
argument is that if we make a line for ourselves, what's to stop others from crossing it for themselves?
Nothing.
Okay.
But
So
does
then
that mean that we shouldn't draw a line?
It depends on how you want to look at it. What's the line? If we're talking about robots, and they're going to keep making more advanced robots, and we don't think that's a good idea strategically, we are behind, which leaves us in a security problem, which a state doesn't like to have.
So our solution to that problem would be to make more robots and make them
More
better
ro-
than what China made.
Yes.
You see where
Exactly.
that takes us.
Now, let me point you back into history when this has happened to every single empire.
Okay.
It's just history repeating itself.
Yeah, but they didn't have this tech, man. This is a whole different area we're opening up.
Why?
Because I just told you, one robot
Okay.
kill a whole platoon of soldiers. This is not human military war anymore. We've gone past that. And now
No,
what we're
it's
dealing
still-
with
it's still-
doesn't question
War-
orders.
Dude, war is just politics by other means.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly. If you've seen the Black Mirror episode, you understand. So these things, right? These machines, they don't
So what?
sleep. They don't.
Who cares?
Well, we don't care now because they're not an issue. But what if they were in the future?
Okay, but what are you going to do?
Well,
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You can't stop shit that's just going to happen from happening.
well, we could say that about anything. I mean, what are you
No-
gonna do?
no
What are you gonna
shit.
do? Oh, fuck it. It's gonna happen anyway. You know, fuck it. I mean, that you could say that about literally every topic. So I would just like to talk about it now, so maybe we could slow it down, if not like stop it before we go over the line.
What do you slow down? We don't even know what it is. So what do we slow down? What part of the technology advancement is the wrong part?
I don't have all the details
Do we
on
stop
it.
AI? Do we stop robotics? No.
Well, no, of course not. No,
Okay, well, what are you going to do? It's going to keep going.
No, but maybe we pass laws that limit, using robots as weapons. Maybe we have some kind of line there,
Who can't use them as weapons?
I'm just talking about America. Like I said, we can only control ourselves.
So
we
your
can't control
theory-
what China does. We can't control what Britain
Fine,
does.
fine. So your theory is that instead of using robots for war, we're better off sending American citizens because we don't want to cross some fucking line?
Well, no, we shouldn't go to war, period. That would be my...
Where are you, dude? You're like, what the fuck? You're like, oh, we can't have robots. Oh, but we shouldn't go to war. Having robots is even more of an excuse to go to war because you're not wasting American citizens.
Look, maybe I'm just not explaining this properly.
No, you're explaining it. You got to take your feelings out of it.
Okay.
You think there's a line? What line?
Well, no, we haven't established a line. There is no line. What I'm proposing is that we should have a line. Like, hey, we've gone too far with these machines. We should stop because this is not going to lead to anything good. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not defining the line. I don't know what the line is. The line is whatever we decide it is.
What do you think they were doing when they were making the bomb?
Well, again, it's much of the same thing. You could use the atom bomb as a good example. Was that crossing the line? Did we cross the line when Oppenheimer completed the bomb? Oppenheimer thinks so.
Look, should you not make a robot that could help save 1 million lives because it might kill one?
Of course you should, but should you put guns on that robot that you now created to save millions of lives? You ever see?
But now you're trying to control other people's behavior, and that's impossible.
No, I'm trying to just pass laws so that we don't make fucking weaponized machines that could basically wipe out all of humanity.
That's what a law is, Paul. You're restricting somebody's ability to do something.
Well, yeah, we should restrict that. Then that's fine. I'll die on that hill. I don't want to build weapons, especially weapons
Don't
that
build
have.
them, motherfucker. Why don't you find things that prevent weapons? Build something else, because someone's going to build weapons. If somebody wants it, and there's a demand because powerful states want to beat other powerful states, there will always be demand for weapons of war. And as long as that's happening, somebody will fill that demand.
That's fair argument. So I live in a pipe dream, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I don't. I
I
want
understand
the entire world to stop killing each other. I want us all to.
Me
We don't
too.
have to like each other. We just have to cooperate.
Me
That's
too.
what I want.
feel the same.
So
I
if
feel the
that's a
same.
pipe dream, then I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here, to be honest with you. Because what is this?
Anything would take time, man. It's not like we can just like elect a president. All of a sudden, the world's gonna be like, "Oh shit, thank God." You know what I mean? Like,
Sure. I just want to open some of these topics now, because if we don't address some of this stuff now, then you have
I
Black
don't-
Mirror.
okay, I guess I get that. I mean, if you want to talk about it just for the sake of talking about it, if you want to talk about it practically, that's what I'm doing. If you want to talk about pipe dreams, shit,
Then I'm your guy.
T800s all day long, man.
Yeah, man, it's really concerning. Obviously, for me anyway, obviously we talk about the Matrix recently and much of the same thing. Like I said, computers, very dangerous. And again, who's controlling this? Is it the government? Is it another faction? I mean, it's scary stuff, man. It's really
When it
scary.
I mean, I don't know shit about computers and like the cyber world, but I mean, it seems that any person with the right set of skills on a computer can do a lot, almost equal to a nation state.
Oh, definitely. Some of these computer people, yeah, they can do all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure they could even hack some of those robot
That's the
dogs
thing,
and make
yeah.
them do whatever
Yeah.
they want, which again, is that a good thing? It depends on what they're using them for.
Look,
I mean, let me give you another scenario, right? So
okay, go ahead.
we had those the drones. I think you said you saw the video of the drone that literally goes next to people and it explodes and kills them, right? So
There's all types of drones.
right. And these explosive drones are the ones I'm specifically talking about. They're
Where,
obviously used for
where was it used? In Israel and Ukraine?
it didn't specify. It may not even been a recent video, but the one I saw, like I said, there's a guy outside his car or outside his military vehicle. I'll pull the video up later and I'll post it here so you can all see it.
I've seen a million of them.
So yeah, so you already know, right? So if they're able to use these drones, right, to destroy terrorists, then we're all good with that, right? Because nobody likes terrorists. We're okay with this. I'm just giving an example.
It depends on the
I'm just giving an example. Let's say the guy in the video was a terrorist and he kills innocent people and this drone kills him, and then we're all like, cool, this is great, and we don't even have to put humans in harm's way, right?
We'll put it on the front page of the paper.
Now, whatever it is. So now, well, what if there's a political candidate or somebody like that they want to take out? What's to stop them from using this drone on those people?
What's going to stop them from using, let's say, a guy in a books depository building?
Well, again, this is the question that I'm kind of trying to bring to awareness. At what point do we draw the line and we say, you know what, this is too much, you know?
Well, I don't think they're going to, because I think it's just going to get easier with
They're
robots.
clearly not. I'm just trying to, like I said, just entertain the conversation real quick.
Well,
I don't think they have any plans of shutting any of this down.
Great. I'm entertaining the conversation, right? If I'm using robots for the gain of American power, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you can get away with something that you couldn't, like, use a person for. Why, as a nation state, would you not do that to your enemies? You know what I mean?
Well, of course, but what would to stop you from using it on your own people? That's my concern.
Nothing.
Exactly. That's not concerning to you?
But nothing's stopping the state from doing what it's doing now.
True. We should be stopping it, but we're not.
But
you know, if me and you were in power, right? Me and you were duo dictatorship. We run the whole show, and here's this dissenting voice, and he's speaking out against us.
He's in jail.
Well, maybe we don't want to do that, because then maybe the population may be like, oh, look, he's just imprisoning their political rivals.
Oh, that's simple. Then we put child porn on his computer.
Right, which apparently happens.
Yeah. Yes.
So I've heard.
He's blackmail.
Right. So even though they didn't actually look up any child porn, you literally put it on their computer.
Yep, now you're beat.
Yeah, which no doubt is a thing. So yeah, of course, that would be another avenue that we would probably go down first, again, to stay in power, right? But again, what would ultimately stop us? You know, hey, we don't want to jail them because, you know, we don't want, we don't want a massive uprising, saying that we're abusing our power. We also can't actually kill him and have it be tied to us, because again, the same thing will happen. The population will see it and be like, oh, these guys were tyrants. So we need to do it quietly. So what do we do? We send a drone to blow up in this dude's house.
The same thing. Drone's just an outside contractor.
Whatever it is. So we send a drone privately, right, to kill this dude, and then we blame it on our enemy. Oh, no, we didn't do this. No. This was Iran. This was whoever. The United States did this. Whoever.
Are you going to say what's going to stop us from doing that?
Yes. What would stop us from doing that?
Let me see. What stopped them from doing it to the Maine? What stopped them from doing it to the Gulf of Tonkin incident? We purposely blew up our ships, blamed it on them, and went to war.
Well, you're just proving my point here. I mean, again, what's to stop them? Nothing. That's the problem.
My point. My point is nothing's going to stop them.
Well, we could stop them. The problem is that, well, we obviously, I don't know if I want to say all this on the air, but how do you create a new regime that's benevolent to every person in your society? How do we do that?
States are only formed two ways: out of conquest or out of revolution. So the only way to eliminate any of our real problems is to do something that politicians are never going to do, which is cut spending. It's not. They're going to do what's in their best incentive.
They're going to do whatever the fuck they want to do until the rest of the population does something about it. And if they never do something about it, then these people are going to just continue to do what they've been doing the entire time, and they're going to get away with it.
Well, that's what's happening now.
Yes, it's been happening.
So add the word "continue." continue to get away with it.
Continue. Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I was talking to someone on Facebook the other day, and they're like super smart. And I was talking about how Fauci probably belongs in jail. What he did was like treasonous.
Definitely.
And, like right away.
He killed a lot of people.
It went the right way went to defending Fauci. And I made a comment about the mask. And it's like, masks save people. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, with all the data that's already out and proven. And it's not. And then my favorite argument is we did the best we could with the knowledge we had at the time. Bullshit, because there was always somebody saying different, and they were silencing them.
No, yeah, they had prior knowledge. It's pretty evident right now.
Rand Paul got silenced all the time on all this stuff because like you can't even like really mention the virus word because it automatically gets you hit. And he was talking about facts as a senator of the United States of America getting censored for misinformation because it was labeled misinformation by the regime.
Well, yeah, that's what they do. And honestly, it's brilliant strategy. I mean, if you know something's going to come out, right, and it's going to be damaging to your character, why wouldn't you have the mainstream media be like, oh, misinformation, just plant that seed. So when this information does come out, nope, this is misinformation. We've been telling you guys about this. We've been telling you to wait for it. In reality, it could very well be true.
Listen, we caught you on camera. It wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Got you on the sofa.
It's AI. It's misinformation.
Me. I got you on camera. That's not me.
They even got me in the shower.
Wasn't you.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, yeah. It's really brilliant, the game that they play with, with the masses. It's awful and terrible, but it's brilliant, man.
It's a different version of the same game. The game just adapts.
Right. If you did something dishonest, right, and you knew it was going to come back to get you, right, you knew it, and I'm the first person that you see, right, after you've done this act, the first thing you're probably going to do is come up to me and, hey, man, so this is what happened, and this person did such and such, and blah, 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 blah. You're going to already try to paint the narrative in my brain that even though you know what you did is dishonest, I'm not saying you did, obviously, hypothetically, even though you know you did what you did was dishonest, you're going to try to persuade me that you're in the right. So by the time that this person comes up and they're like, hey, Paul, did you hear what happened to me? And I'm like, man, I already heard the story. I know what you did, not meaning you, but the other person, or, this is a lie, or it's misinformation, or it's nonsense, because I already heard that what you're about to tell me is nonsense. It's mind control, man. It's like they insert the propaganda up front.
You say the lie enough, it becomes the truth.
Yes. And again, that's the same thing. It's the same psychological game they play with misinformation, disinformation. Did
you watch Dave Smith in Cuomo yet?
No, I've only seen parts of it. Right. I don't even know if I want to watch it, man. Cuomo is very disappointed.
He's denying what he said on CNN. He's like, oh, I didn't say it like that. I didn't say it like that.
And then they played the clips.
And they played the fucking clip.
I saw it, yeah. Yeah, very disappointed with Cuomo. As I've said I think in the first episode, or in the past at least, that I actually like Chris Cuomo. I do not like the way he's handled this at all.
You liked him for a second. Everybody
I like some of the stuff that he does.
But he just backed out on all of that by lying.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he said now, he's done.
I'm not defending him in this scenario at all.
It was every anchor on CNN. It was every anchor on MSNBC. And every anchor on Fox had their version of the story.
Well, they were telling the public what they were told to say, right? Now, whether they knew, I truly believe that they thought that they were getting accurate, legit information.
I'm sure some of them.
So, yeah, I'm sure Chris Cuomo totally believed what he was saying back in the day, not realizing that the powers that be misfed him information, gave him the wrong information. And,
but he also
now he probably feels stupid about it.
But it's not just they were misinformed by their people. They shamed people.
Yes.
They threatened people with job loss.
Yeah.
In Maryland, if you went and got the shot, the jab, whatever you want to call it, at a certain place, you could get into a lottery and win $1 million.
Yeah.
Some places were giving out free
pizza, free French fries. I know, I saw all of it, which really really disturbing stuff. Once you realize what's really going on with COVID, that shit is disturbing that they did all of that
Remember
stuff.
when the lab leak theory came out and they're like
Yeah.
blaming on China as racist?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you, what's more racist? Calling the virus the China virus because it came from a Chinese lab, or saying that the Chinese are so grimy that it came and so disgusting that it got into a filthy fish market, made a whole new disease that went everywhere?
Yeah.
What's more fucked up to say about
The
a group of
second,
people?
the second one, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more of a slap in the face. But we already know that it came from Wuhan lab.
Right, but for a minute they said it was something else.
They denied it.
And
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
they did. They lied and they lied and they lied. And if you said other, you got shamed or canceled or put down on the algorithm or whatever because you spoke against what they said. And now so many people are so convinced that when you try to bring it up, they're like, no.
Well,
no,
because
no.
again, they probably feel stupid, and a lot of the shit that they said, I think Jimmy Kimmel, for example, was like, "Hey, if you don't get the shot, then you deserve to die." Like, man, that's fucked up. That's a fucked up thing to say to somebody.
The tyranny. Oh no, what did he say? It's the pandemic of the unvaccinated or something, right?
Something ridiculous. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just him. A lot of people, like you mentioned, said very similar things, like almost wishing death upon people who didn't get vaxxed.
Sean Penn said if you're not vaccinated, you should shoot yourself.
There you go. Yeah. Again, what the fuck, man?
Another one of my favorite actors who's a schmuck.
So, so going back in this time, right? I don't know about you, but I was certainly drinking the Kool-Aid. I was very much in the Matrix, right? So
I remember.
I'm going to be fair. I urge people to get the shot. I never wished death upon them. I never told them that they deserved to burn in hell or fucking die if they didn't get the vaccine. I never said that we wouldn't be friends or that I'd have to cut them off or you couldn't come over my house. Like, that's ridiculous shit. So yeah, I definitely urged it because just like everybody else, I was under the assumption that, hey, this is actually going to help people. So yeah, you should get it. If you don't want to, don't get it. But I think that, for the benefit of humanity, I would suggest or advise that you get it, just to be fair. Me and
we were
Fish,
wrong.
I was wrong. Absolutely.
yeah.
I never wished death upon anybody but me and Fish Face had several conversations about this. Not just, in a, like over the course of, I'd say probably about a year and a half. And
I recall.
he was right. Sorry, Fish. You were right. I was wrong. But again, I never told them that we would never be friends anymore. Or that, well, you should just die. That's fucked up. Would never say that. But yeah.
I think, personally, my favorite way of stopping the spread was when we all walked down the same way in the aisles at the grocery store. I think that really prevented the spread. I think that was the one.
That was it.
That was
The
the one.
6 feet social distancing.
Yeah,
So-
as long as you're all walking in one direction, that is.
That'll be fine because it'll keep all of the.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that does.
Stand 6 feet away from each other. Walk in the same direction. Don't ask any questions. You're good at that.
Right. So for me, I was in nursing school for a bit, which you obviously know. But to anybody who doesn't, right, we do learn about how various diseases are transmitted, right? So I was under the assumption, right, for COVID that it's droplet, which means that like
Stop. This is probably where you're going to get into that world. So don't even. You're already giving us information.
how?
I don't know.
This is what I
but
learned
that's-
in nursing school.
But it's the words you're saying. Doesn't matter. Don't go into what you learned or what you said. That's the exact kind of shit that's going to go. Well, go ahead, test it. See what happens. Say what you want to
Test
say.
How do you even know what I'm about to say?
Because you talk about what you learned in nursing school. As soon as you talk about things that you learned about something about that,
I'm gonna explain why I defended some of these
you
things.
could be explaining the truth. I think when you get into it, this is what's going to get us in trouble. But I want you to do it and see what happens. You'll get an email if you said the wrong thing, right?
I don't really know where you're going with this. I'm really confused.
If you talk about the shot, the vaccine, in any of the wrong way,
I'm not even going to the vaccine. I'm not going there.
all right,
At least not in this episode.
My bad.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff on that, and yeah, we're gonna
Okay,
get
continue.
canceled for talking about that shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we're
No,
not on
no,
it-
I'm not. I wasn't going there with it. No,
Good,
so
go.
Like I said, in nursing school, they teach us about the various ways that diseases could be transmitted, right? And obviously, there's sexual, there's touch, but there's two specific ones, right? One is airborne, right, which means that if it's in the air, you're going to get it, and there's no mask or any kind of, unless you're walking around 24/7 and sleeping in a gas mask, you're susceptible to it, right?
So I don't think you need to explain how this stuff works to anybody who's listening, because all we did was talk about this for years.
So, well, again, from my learning, from what I learned, right? I learned about airborne, right? And then I learned about droplet, right? Droplet is like when you sneeze, for example, right? You got all this little moisture that disperses into the air, right?
What about swap and spit?
Well, that's like actual touch. Like if you're actually kissing somebody, you're actually physically touching them. With droplet, you can pass a cold from one person to the other without touching them at all. You're standing in the same room, you sneeze, they breathe in your moisture, now they get sick, right?
Okay.
So that's the idea. So when this was all going on and people were like, oh yeah, 6 feet social distancing, wear masks. In my head, I was like, oh, this is droplet. This actually makes sense. Again, to a degree in my head, like, okay, wearing a mask because every time you talk, you spit, so this way it'll cut down on the amount of spit that winds up in the air because now you're spitting right into your mask. So it made sense to me. And in some cases, it still does. And so did the social distancing thing. Maybe not 6 feet, but maybe if you're standing 20 feet away from somebody, yeah, you'll be far less likely to get sick if they have a cold than you don't. And I'm not talking about the virus. I'm just talking about the common cold.
What do you get now?
Well, no, I was trying to make the point that, like, when I would say, if I've told you in the past that, like, hey, wearing mask is beneficial or, social distancing is beneficial, it's because I had in my head droplet theory that I learned in nursing school. Well, not because Fauci told me anything or,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong on that. Like, technically, masks help this not spread whatever.
They do, to a degree, a small degree, but they do.
Right, but that is all they need to argue with that. Because the science does say that masks can help a little bit. But they help in
probably about 5%, maybe.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's even though they were proven wrong about all the shit, they hold on to that little fact that, yes, technically it does help, but there's no proof that it did.
Okay. I mean, it's a very small argument to make in the entire grand scheme of this, because I don't know what you know about that. We haven't discussed it.
It's just the argument they use to try to hold on to the fallacy that what we were told during that whole thing is correct.
Right. Which we know isn't. I would like to talk to you.
A lot of people don't know that.
I would like to talk to you like off the record real quick, because I would like to know what you know about COVID and see if it matches up with what I know about COVID. But we should definitely do an episode about it in the future. You let me know when you're getting ready to, all right, I'm done doing the show. Let's get canceled. And then we'll do the COVID episode because they'll cancel us. We'll get canceled instantly.
Rand Paul was just on the Glenn Greenwald show, and they got into it perfectly. Like I don't need, so people need to listen to me and for me to prove that the government lied about all that shit. It's out there. You just have to look.
Absolutely.
It's right there. Start with Rand Paul and Glenn Greenwald.
And I think a lot of Americans forget that there's doctors in other countries too, like reputable doctors that have also done studies, and other medical personnel that exist outside of the United States and Britain.
Yes, and that is how...
And some of the stuff that they found... Oh,
right. But when you control the narrative, you can say that the stuff you just said is bullshit.
It's misinformation. Yeah.
Yes, that's the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if they prep you with it beforehand. How old is the word misinformation? Like, yeah, I'm sure it's old, but they literally just introduced it into our society just a few years ago. Why? Because they're prepping you for a lot of the stuff that's about to come out, so that when you see it, you're just like, oh, that's misinformation. And you don't even give it a second thought. You don't open the book. You just read the article, and then you flip to the next page. Oh, misinformation. Misinformation. Misinformation.
Well, look at the majority of people only read the headline.
Yes. I'm guilty of that myself.
Just the headline. And it's like TikTok videos and those Instagram reels. So like, I can't explain to you how screwed up the government is in a 15-second TikTok.
No.
But you got to remember, you didn't learn that the government was good in 15 seconds. You got that shit repeated to you all through school.
Right. Well, again, there's the mind control. I'd love to talk about the history of education at some point, who founded it, how it came about.
I know the Prussians.
I know you know, but I would like to share it with the people who maybe don't know. I'm not saying school is bad, but whoever controls the narrative gets to teach you whatever they want, and more importantly, they get to omit whatever they want. I'm just going to tell you the part of the story that I want you guys to know, and the rest of it, don't worry about it. You don't need to know that part.
Well, the funny thing about that is that when the left brings up like slavery, right? Then they remember how fucked up the government is. You know what I mean? Like it happened. Like for some reason you don't think it would happen now, but it happened before. Like what makes you think they stopped?
Well, yeah. Well, we've
I
said that before.
I don't get it.
Hey, the government, we were talking about the last episode with the Tuskegee experiments and all these messed up things that the government has done to its own people, to us. But don't worry, guys. They've changed their ways. They're good
It'll
now.
be different.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, they were just bad back then, but now they've mended their ways and they're doing nothing but awesome things. Like I said in the last episode, if you believe that, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. Anyway, and again, we've also talked about, not everybody that works for the government is, has malevolent ideas. Some of these people are good people, and they're really trying to fight on our behalf. They're just seriously outnumbered by all the terrible people in power.
It's the state inherently operates a certain way, and it by just the being of the state. That's how it works. That's how it has to work.
Well, like you said, it's the essence of the state. It's a leech. It's a parasite.
It's a parasite.
No, you're right. And depending on who is at the head or at the top of that parasite, whoever's in the brain of this parasite, so to speak, they run the show how they want. Well, that's not how it works here, Paul. I wish that were true. I wish that were true. We live in a democracy, right? Right? I think so.
So we live in a constitutional republic, technically.
Yeah, it's saying a democracy. I didn't tell you that. I wish it was. But maybe it can be one day.
Be what?
A democracy. Like a true democracy.
Why? That's a terrible idea.
What should we run?
Why would you want a true democracy?
That means a democracy where like the people legitimately have the voice, and we can.
Well, no. Half the people, 51% of the people have the voice.
Well, I don't have all the fine tunings for it, but maybe we need to.
It's not simple. Democracy isn't a new idea. Hold on. And there's a reason the founding fathers didn't make us a pure democracy, because they feared mob rule.
Okay.
And
so what's the difference? What was America intendedly, or the United States of America? What was it initially intended to be? This is more your department.
The independent states under one universal agreement, which was the federal constitution.
So they weren't trying to make a democracy, or is this like some version of a democracy?
No. Yes and no. That's why they put in like the electoral college and stuff to prevent. They feared majority rule.
Right.
And a true democracy is 50.01% wins.
I take that back then. I didn't mean it like in those terms where I just meant like, giving the people the voice back, taking all of the corruption out of this, just revamping the government so that it doesn't have these overreaching arms, and it's 100% transparent. So when the government does something, the whole public knows about it.
You don't have to revamp the government. You just have to stop spending the money on the programs. The federal government is the problem. It's too fucking big.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not talking about state governments. Let California run itself into the ground. How's that going for you, Newsom, by the way? I'm not talking about that. Because that's different. If one state, starts passing ridiculous laws and shit, you just move to the next state. But if the federal government starts passing ridiculous laws, it doesn't really matter what state you live in.
The Constitution is the rule book for the government. It's what the government can do. And if it's not on it, Article 10, subsection whatever, goes to the states. So unless it's said in the Constitution, it goes to the states. And over the years, they've abused that power and twisted and done whatever they wanted to do to here we are today.
Right. Which, just to reiterate, isn't a democracy, unfortunately.
It's not a free market either.
No, I don't know what's going on here. We have some kind of authoritarian rule going on here. And Biden's not at the top of it. So
More of totalitarianism.
it very much is. It's borderline communism too, from what we're
Well,
seeing nowadays.
that's
I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to get into all that. As a matter of fact, you had some other. Go ahead.
It is definitely totalitarianism to be like, you can't come out of your house, you can't go to work, you have to wear a mask. That I don't know what else would be. You know what I mean?
No, that's definitely a totalitarian government.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like when they had the lockdowns and stuff, if you're a business owner or whatever, then that's your place of business. You should be allowed to do whatever you want. Hey, you don't have to wear a mask to come in here. Hey, we need you in a full mask, or whatever it is.
Don't even worry about the mask. You aren't allowed to be open because the state deemed you
right
not essential.
Right. So we know that was wrong, obviously, and hopefully we never make that mistake again. I was obviously living in Florida at the time when that transpired, and DeSantis was quite praised for opening up, businesses and everything earlier than all of the other states, or most of the other states, I should say.
Yeah.
And I think he was right. I mean, I could sit here for the next hour and bash DeSantis into the ground, but at least in that regard, he was right. And I agreed with him. Yeah, you should open this up, Who's the federal government to come in and say that, they can declare martial law and just lock... That's, again, like you said, that's totalitarianism right there. I don't know what else to call it. Anyway, do you...
all that just from the Berlin Wall.
Yeah. I think we went off topic a little bit. Went off topic several times.
All right. Another thing I got into was, did you ever actually read the Iliad?
Yes.
Homer?
Yes.
Okay. I've only
Just
read
call me
the
Pomer,
Odyssey.
or did you say Homer?
Homer.
Yeah. Yeah, I read both of them back in high school.
I've read the Odyssey, and I read it again a couple of years, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, just for kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Iliad at all?
Yeah. I remember a lot of the basics and stuff. I don't know if I could reverberate the story to you verbatim, but I can cover the gist of it.
Well, basically, the war...
Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, the war between Sparta and Troy.
There were other factions involved.
They pick sides.
It was Sparta. Yeah, I think Athens was involved to some degree. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
But the way... So the I guess the mythology of it is that there was a wedding, right? There was like some normal dude was marrying like a water nymph or some shit, but Zeus threw a party, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone's kicking it, and we're doing Greek mythology. So Eris.
I'm very familiar. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, some people aren't. Roman, Greek.
Fair.
We're on Greek.
Fair.
So Eris, the god of discord, was not on the list to get into the party. So Eris, being bitter, threw her gift into the party. Right? You with me?
Yeah.
This is. Do you remember this part? Are you with me in your head too?
This is prior, I think, to all the events starting. So go ahead.
Go ahead. The gift was a golden apple, and on the apple it said, "To the fairest." Right? So, obviously, when you have Greek mythology, so it was Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. We're all like, oh, it's mine. I'm the hottest one. Right. Me.
Right.
So they decide to... Zeus is like, I'm not going to pick between my wife and my 2 daughters. I'm not that fucking dumb. So the girls decide to get an independent judge, right? And the independent judge they pick is this dude named Paris. Now, Paris when he was born, there was a prophecy that he was gonna be the fall of Troy. You know what I mean? So the king and the queen were like, "Here, my favorite little assistant, we can't kill our baby. Go kill our baby in the woods." So the assistant, being the good assistant that they are, did not kill the kid, put him on the other side of the river, and left the kid to fend for himself. So a family comes along, finds the kid, names it Paris. But the kid's super smart and strong, and he achieves, and he becomes popular. And when his mother, the queen of Troy, sees him right away, she's like, "That's my kid. I can tell." And they bring him back into the fold like everything's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's Paris' story. So now the three goddesses come to Paris, and they're like, "You got to pick one." So they try to bribe him. And one, like how Hera is like, "I'll make you the most powerful man in the world," and then the other one of them, not Aphrodite, the other one,
Athena?
Athena was like, "I'll make you the smartest dude in the world, and you can take over the world by being super smart." And Aphrodite was like, "I'll give you the most beautiful chick in all the land." So Paris is like, "I want the girl." So set into play the thing. So now Aphrodite is now an ally of Troy. So something happens, and Paris is on a friendly trip to Sparta, right? And the most beautiful woman in the world is Helen of Sparta at the time, but she's married
To Agamemnon.
to Agamemnon. So is that who she's married to?
Agamemnon, yeah.
She's married to Melanius.
Oh, maybe I had that backwards. I thought she was
Yeah.
promised to Agamemnon, but maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
he's in it, but it's not. No, it's a different guy. So he's the king of Sparta.
Okay.
So this dude, when he's away on whatever, Paris takes Helena. They fall in love, and they sail back to Troy.
Yes.
When the husband gets back, I want to say he sends his brother, and his brother's Agamemnon, right?
Yeah, you're right. Agamemnon's his brother. You're right.
And then there's a Hector in there too.
Hector is Paris's brother. He is the son of the king of Troy.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so boom, now we're all caught up. So, but the other people in this war include Odysseus, obviously, Achilles, Agamemnon, and Ajax are all the famous guys who happen to be in this war.
Francis. That's his legal name. He got Ajax from the dish soap.
So they go over. The Spartans rally the troops from Greece, and Troy is. We'll get to it, but it's on. They think it's on the western coast of Turkey, so it's on the Med, right? So they get in their boats. They go. They sail over to Troy. They attack Troy. 10-year war. 9 of the years, Troy is a. You can't get into Troy. It's a super fortress. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's the boss. So for 9 years, they try to siege this place, and then they do the Trojan horse. Everybody knows the Trojan horse, right?
Yeah.
But that everything up into the Iliad, there's no good writing besides the mythology. The Iliad is the best account they have of, or one of the best accounts they have of that war.
Of those events, yeah.
Okay. And now, before we get into more Troy, there's another guy, Greek philosopher, who wrote a book. I forget his name, and I have it, and it starts with like an X. It's when he's super famous. It's like Xenovius or some shit like that. And his book is about 10,000 Greek mercenaries who get trapped in Troy after the Greeks go home.
After the war is over, after they've
After the
already
war's
sacked
over,
Troy.
they miss their ride and they're stuck. But the Trojan horse just happened, and Troy just got burned to the ground. So Troy's not happy with Greek mercenaries, right?
Right.
So the Greek mercenaries walk and fight their whole way home.
Wow.
Okay, and there's a whole account of it, and the guy, it's like ZXCNO something. It'll come right up if you Google it. But that story is the same story that this is
Oh,
based
no
on.
kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well,
So
this
the
book-
Warriors is based on some ancient Greeks trying to find their way home.
Yeah, so the book is written by Saul Urich. And the book is different than the movie. In the book, the kids are younger.
It's obviously gangs instead of ancient
Yeah,
Greeks, but
Yeah, they're gangs. The kids are younger. It's not as cool as the movie. But the movies, they're like teenagers, 20-year-olds. And it's a little different in the book. They're like middle schoolers.
oh no shit.
And
some Lord of the
nobody
Flies
dies. And like Cleon doesn't die in the beginning and shit. Like the movie's the shit, obviously. But yeah. So the other story of this war, besides the Iliad, is actually the Warriors.
No shit. I had no idea
It's
the
the
Warriors
Warriors.
was based on that. That's really cool, or at least inspired
they
by
gotta,
it.
They got to fight their way all the way. They got to bop all the way home.
That's fascinating. I never knew that.
Good shit, right?
Yeah, that's super cool shit. Plus, I love this stuff anyway. Anything
Okay,
that
and,
involves mythology or go ahead,
So
ancient history.
One more thing before you get into yours about this. So we technically don't know where Troy is. There's an argument if Troy existed at all. Oh, I just hit something. So they think they might have found it, right? There's one guy thinks he might have found it, and he bought the land, and then he brought another like-minded person on with him, and they found this hill that they think used to be the city of Troy. The friend who got brought on digs to the bottom of the hill, finds all this gold and shit, like artifacts, true story, finds all these artifacts, and then takes credit for finding it and leaves the other guy in the dust.
Wow, what an asshole.
But this is like the 1840s.
Okay.
So the more that archaeology figures shit out, advances, and the more they look at this mountain on the western coast of Turkey, on the Med. It's Hisarik, Hisarilk. So that's the town they think it is. But the mountain, the hill, when you dig down, is actually 9 different layers of the same city built back on top of itself. So the farther you go down, the farther you go back in the history of the town.
Right.
And besides all the gems that the one dude found, they found arrows and swords, and they found a bunch of skulls that have evidence that they were beaten to death. So it looks like the bodies were left there. You know what I mean? After being their skulls smashed down.
Well, that makes sense. In this great battle, there would be all kinds of arrowheads there, and swords and shields and a sandal or two. Yeah, there would be all kinds of shit there that they would find.
That it's that many years of history, that it's 9 different layers, and they think there was another city on top of the other city, and they kept building and building on the same city.
Humans
And the deeper you go down, the older you go, and you find different shit. But
yeah, we do
but they're
that a
not
lot.
100% sure it's Troy. This is their best guess of what would be Troy based on the evidence that we have. So that's my my Greek mythology story for you today.
Well, I love that shit. That's fantastic. What was the ancient Aztec city? It was like Techuchlan or something like that?
Oh, the one in the end.
Well, Mexico City is built on top of it.
Yeah.
Like it's literally built over the ruins of the ancient Aztec capital. I think it's like Techuchlan. I don't know. Anyway, look it up. Yeah, it's fascinating.
If I could see it in Civilization right now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And there's been numerous accounts of that happening. The burying of pyramids and things back in the day. Obviously, when we think of pyramids, we think of the pyramids of Giza because they're the most famous. But there's actually pyramids all over the fucking world, and many of them have been buried and since been uncovered. Fascinating, but that's a topic for another day. Yeah, I love Greek mythology, man. I could sit here and start talking stories, but we'll be here for the next 5 or 6 hours.
All right, I want to do one more thing which I thought was really cool. Bring up Lewistown. Bring up the first map.
Lewistown.
It's in Idaho, the land of potatoes. I gotta show you on the map where this shit is first. See the little red dot? That's Lewiston.
Where it says
You-
Lewiston right next to the red
Right.
dot.
Would you believe me if I told you there was a major seaport in that town?
What?
A seaport.
I heard that part. What is there like
Yeah.
a massive lake there, or is there some kind of
No,
tri-
there's a river. There's a river from north of Portland. Go
that
to
goes
the
all
next
the way to
picture.
the ocean?
Yeah, go to the next picture.
Get the fuck out of here!
So that's again where it is, and then go to the next one. So that's the town. That's the docks
Wow,
of the
no
town.
shit. And that comes all the way
So-
in from the Pacific,
Yeah.
or does it connect to other rivers and it's like a tributary to get here?
It's the city itself is 700 feet above sea level, and down the river there's 8 locks that get you up and down, right?
Okay.
And they move cargo, which is another reason why there's not a lot of trucks and trains out here, is because one of the great things about America is our river system.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
navigate almost anywhere from the Mississippi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, you got the
it's-
Mississippi, the Missouri, and the Colorado. So all,
Right.
yeah, massive.
What I'm saying is, when it comes to trade, shipping will always be the cheapest form of transportation.
Right.
So, this area out in the middle of wheat country, and because it's a river, that if you look on the right, that tugboat is pushing barges. So everything's done on barges as opposed to huge ships. Even though some ships can get in there, but they can do the biggest of barges that holds like 100 shipping containers, over 100 shipping containers, and they link them together and push them up and down the river.
Oh, no shit. Smart.
So the city itself has 4 major highways in and out. It has a freight rail, it has an airport, and the river is called Marine Highway 84 because it's run by the Merchant Marines, which is separate from the state. It's like guys who work on ships and the ports and shit like that.
Okay.
So it collects the wheat from 6 states plus Canada. So all the wheat grown in that area goes to this town and gets shipped out. It takes about 48 hours to get from the city to the ocean. They move enough grain to fill 113,000 semi-trucks or a train that would be 360 miles long.
Wow.
That's how much wheat, and the wheat feeds it mostly goes to Mexico, Japan, and China. The majority of it.
And yeah, if the tributary connects to another river, whatever, and they connects to the Pacific, then yeah, they can just literally just go right out.
It's pretty much a straight shot, and you know by the history and geography that it's really fucking hard to control a river and have it do what you want it to do. So naturally, in normal times when the water's not flooded or whatever, it's only about 6 feet deep on average, and that is not deep enough for barges and tugboats. So every year, this thing is 250 feet wide, it's 14 feet deep, and it has to stay at 14 feet. So they constantly have to dredge the bottom of the river.
Oh, no shit.
And you know what dredging is? Dredging is like excavating dirt from the bottom of the river. They put it on a barge and they go dump it out in the ocean.
Yeah.
And imagine what that does to the economy, to the environment.
Oh,
But-
if we destroy anything on the bottom of the
Yeah.
river, for sure.
Well, so it's either you destroy the environment of the river, and that's a sacrifice you do to keep the American agriculture department happy and to keep wheat. If you didn't have this river, right, and they had
Wheat
to
would
ship,
be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, American wheat growers would not be able to compete on the world market.
Gotcha.
So, which is why when the war in Ukraine happened, Europe got screwed and North Africa got screwed because all the wheat comes out of that area, Ukraine and Russia in there. But China and Japan, they get our wheat. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, you know me, man. I'm all for saving the environment. You know, so I don't know. Again, it's mixed feelings here. So yeah, maybe we
Well,
shouldn't be
this is-
dredging the
this is
bottom
what-
of the river, but
Well, this is what
to
happened.
get food to other people.
at some point, the wheat growing lobby was strong enough to lobby Congress to decide to build this thing in the middle of Idaho out to the Pacific to keep the farmers making money.
Okay.
You know,
It's
hypothetically,
it's interesting. I had no idea that there was a river that connected to the Pacific that went this far inland. That's wild.
right? So, in a free market, if wheat was just too expensive, hypothetically, the farmers would just have to do something else or grow something else. But
Right.
wheat
Well,
grows fucking anywhere, and you can sell it, and they need it. And
gotcha. Hey, I gotta take a piss. So
right.
let's pause for a sec.
all right, bring up bring up the guy in the metal suit. I just found out about this the other day. It's old apparently, but I didn't know. And there's a documentary that I haven't watched yet, so I can't get too into it until I watch it because I don't want to ruin it for myself.
Yeah,
So
what is
crazy,
this dude looking like an
this
Iron
crazy-
Man?
Let's go back to the original picture. Go to the first one.
Look at this guy.
No. So he built the suit because he wants to fight a bear,
Okay.
and they made a whole movie about it. And it's a documentary, and it's out, and I can watch it for free. So I'm gonna watch it, obviously.
Like fight a bear how?
He built a metal suit to go fight a bear.
Like hand-to-hand combat to the death? Is that where we're
I
at?
don't know, Paul. I think he's gonna give the bear a sword, and they're gonna fucking duel it out.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he's gonna go fight the fucking bear.
All right. Hey, you know.
He's not the first. They used to do that shit in Russia.
They still
There's-
do.
There is a this old. It looks medieval, but it's this suit, and it looks like a porcupine suit. It has all these nails coming out of it, and it goes over it drapes over your face, and the nails are coming out, so they could go out and not get killed by bears.
Yeah, for protection purposes, I understand. But this guy, it seems to me, and this is fascinating that he built this suit, but it seems to me that he built this for the sole purpose of putting himself in a situation where he actually has to fight a bear, which
Yeah,
seems
and
kind of like
and-
cheating to me.
In Russia, they used to. This is years ago, but there's a name for it that I can't remember. But it was like basically humans pit fighting bears. Think like the
Yeah.
gladiator.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they were
no
like-
doubt, that's a real thing. I've seen
Yeah.
Russians actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
the Russians that are doing it aren't in a metal suit. They're like just legit, no shirt on. Let's go.
All right, go to the next picture with the helmet on because it reminded me of something that only you would probably get. Doesn't he look like he's about to start breathing water and go talk to aliens?
Yeah, he does. Looks like he's
Right.
like they're about to put him under the water in the Mariana Trench or something like that.
It's the Abyss. Remember that
The
movie?
Abyss, yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah, it
looks like
definitely looks like that. Absolutely.
Ed Harris.
Yeah. Not a big fan of the movie. We've talked about this.
You don't like that movie? I remember you. Used
I
to
like the
love it.
ending. The twist at the ending is so cool.
No.
But if you go back and watch it now, it's not a bad movie. I really like James Cameron. It's just that the whole movie is just very slow. It's just
Yeah.
really, really slow until you get to the end and everything makes sense. But
You know, it's funny when you go back and watch that movie because the coffee is in so many other movies. You're like, oh my god, that's him.
coffee.
The one who goes crazy, the military dude who goes crazy. in The
Oh
Abyss.
yeah.
He plays Johnny Ringo in Tombstone.
Yeah, that's
Ringo.
right. He's in what? He's in something else too. What do I
He's
know
in a whole
from?
bunch of shit.
Yeah. Again, it's not a bad movie. It's just really it's just slow burn. And like I said, until the last 5-10 minutes of the movie, there's no real payoff. Until you get there, and then you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but you gotta remember when that movie came out, the big thing was how it made the water go through the underwater, the
The
base.
CGI, yeah, which
Yeah,
today
yeah.
looks very dated, but obviously it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was really cool back then.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's a good movie. I don't think James Cameron makes a bad film, to be fair, Like I said, it's just really, it's slow. It's like, have you seen Interstellar?
No, I heard it's good though.
It is, but again, it's really slow. Like the
It's
payoff
no-
at the end, it's very similar. Like this, except this movie's like almost 3 hours long, I think, and it's good. It's just you're gonna be sitting there with not a whole lot going on. Just build up and build up, slow build up all the way till the end. It's good though. I recommend watching it.
Speaking of movies, one of the things I actually brought up was I was trying to think if we could like talk about an actor. So I was thinking like I saw a sign for a Jamie Foxx movie the other day. It was do you remember Breaking All the Rules when he had the dreadlocks?
Sounds familiar.
It's awful. It's one of his worst movies. So I was trying to think of other shitty Jamie Foxx movies. So I was going to go just do his filmography.
Yeah, what was I don't even remember what was he. I mean, he's a great actor now, but when he first came up in Living Color, he was getting like comedy roles and stuff. Not that they're bad.
Booty Calls. I love Booty Call.
Booty Call. That was Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx, I think.
Yeah.
Tommy Davidson used to kill me, man. That dude's
Who
so
was
funny.
this girl? Vivica Fox. Is that who that was?
Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, she was like she was one of like the pretty girls in Hollywood at the time. You know.
All right. You ready for his stuff? His first. We'll just do his movies. His first movie was Toys. That's with like Robin Williams back.
Oh
in the
yeah,
day.
I remember that.
The Truth About Cats and Dogs. I don't remember that. Then he was in The Great White Hype.
That sounds familiar.
That's a Spike Lee movie. I think Denzel's in that.
Sounds familiar.
Then he's in Booty Call. Then he's in The Players Club. Remember that movie?
Vaguely.
He's the DJ. He's in love with the girl.
I don't know if I saw it.
They work at a Ice Cube's in it. They work at a titty bar, and Bernie Mac is the boss of the titty bar.
No, have I not seen this? Bernie Mac's the man.
And the girl Diamond.
I love Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
Jingling,
It's a serious movie. It's not funny. But Bernie Mac's obviously funny.
Well,
but...
Bernie Mac plays serious roles sometimes.
Yeah, it's from '98. He's like half gangster. I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I did, and I just forgot about it.
All right. Then he's in Any Given Sunday, so I'll give him Willie Beeman, Steamin' Willie Beeman. Held Up. That actually wasn't too bad. Bait wasn't bad. I remember watching that a bunch of times when it first came out. Then he was in Ollie. Then he was in Shade. Shade was stupid.
See, I didn't see that.
Shade's a card movie. It's like they try to hustle a poker table and blah blah blah. Stupid. I bet it went straight to video, honestly. Then there's Breaking All the Rules, which sucked. Collateral was good.
Collateral.
With Tom Cruise. He's the taxi driver. Tom Cruise is the hitman.
I know the film. I don't think I ever saw it.
It's good.
It's
good.
I should watch it.
Tom Cruise, they're both good in it.
Well, Tom Cruise I love a lot of Tom Cruise movies. In real life, that guy's a wacko.
I would definitely
as an actor, Tom Cruise is... Man, I got nothing to say bad about Tom Cruise as an actor, that's for sure.
I would definitely suggest you watch Collateral. You'd like it.
I should check it out because I'm a big fan of a lot of Tom Cruise's movies.
All right.
A lot of them.
Do you like All the Right Moves?
I don't think I saw that.
It's when he plays... it's high school football. It's one of his old movies.
Are we talking about Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, it's an old one.
I like a lot of his classic stuff, obviously.
Chris Penn's in it. It's like they live in a butthole steel town out in Boondocks, Pennsylvania, and the football team's like a powerhouse. So either you work in the factory or you get a scholarship.
Gotcha.
But Chris Pine's in it. Excuse me, Chris Penn. Chris Penn.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fan of Chris Penn.
Yeah, another great actor.
All right, then he's in Ray, which was good. Did you ever see Ray?
Yes, I did.
He's great in that. Then he's in Stealth. That's that stupid AI plane movie with Josh Lucas and Jessica Biel.
Oh, this is is this during like Jessica Biel's heyday? Like when she was...
Yeah, it's
she popped up for like 5 years and then fell off the face of the earth.
They're fucking Top Gun fighters, but and then an AI plane flies with them, and then that happens.
Actually, I'm confusing Jessica Biel with Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba, I feel like, was everywhere for like 5 years, and then I haven't seen her since.
She was in Honey.
She was in all kinds. She was literally everywhere from about, I don't know, early 2000s to like 2010. Then I didn't see her anymore.
All right, then he's in Jarhead.
Jarhead, yeah. The military film.
Miami Vice. I never even watched it.
I wasn't really a big fan of the show. And obviously, it was still pretty popular when me and you were kids. I just never.
Well, that's different. That's Don Johnson. That's a different Miami Vice. I'm
Yeah, I
talking about
know,
the
but
movie.
what I'm saying is, I think if I had, if I really liked the original, I probably would have seen the movie. But since I never really got into the show, I didn't watch the movie.
There's Dreamgirls. I think that's about like one of those 50s or 60s female
Yeah,
artists
that
living
sounds
in
right.
Miami
Yeah.
or something.
Like Aretha Franklin or something like that. Not that that's not that it's about her, but like something like that.
Yeah, like I don't know, one of like I think it's like a 3-lady group.
That sounds right. Yeah.
The Kingdom, which was all right.
Isn't that with dude from The Sopranos?
It's an Iraq movie.
Oh, I'm thinking of The Castle. Never mind. I was thinking of James Gandolfini.
He's not in the castle. James Gandolfini's in the castle.
Yeah,
Jamie
that's
Foxx
that's
is not.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Jamie Foxx isn't.
Right. Don't mind me. I'm confused.
All right. Then there's The Soloist, which I never watched. Law Abiding Citizen, which I didn't really like it.
I saw it.
It's a one-time watch.
Yeah, it was one time for me. I don't even really remember the plot. So
Then he's in Valentine's Day, Due Date, I'm Still Here. He's the voice in Rio. Oh, he's in Horrible Bosses. That's funny.
I never saw that.
You ever saw Horrible Bosses? That's good. It's funny. He's D motherfucking Jones. Then he's in Django.
Did he win an Oscar for that?
I don't know. That movie's fun. I love that movie. It's a good flick.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal flick. I only saw it once actually, but yeah, it was very good. And obviously
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is fantastic in it.
And then he's in White House Down, which is the Channing Tatum version of the movie I was talking about before. He saves the White House. The White House is under attack.
Gotcha.
Rio 2, which is just the voice. Then he was in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Then he's got a cameo as Django in some movie, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Is that another Tarantino film? I'm guessing. If he makes a cameo.
I think he might have produced it. I know James, the kid who got in trouble, Franco, is in it.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure. Oh no, A Million Ways to Die in the West is the guy who does Family Guy, the artist.
McFarlane.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane?
It's a comedy. Then he's in Horrible Bosses 2, Annie, Sleepless, Welcome to My Life, Baby Driver. Baby Driver was cool. Did you see that?
No.
Baby Driver's cool. Decent cast. Good action movie. Crime. Then he's in some movie that doesn't even have a link, The Samurai of Tsushima voice. Then he's in Robin Hood. Did you see the remake of Robin Hood that he's in?
With Russell Crowe?
No. It's
Then no, I
him.
haven't.
And it's awful. It's so bad. The costumes are terrible. It's a weird spin on it. I didn't like it.
I wasn't even, I don't know. I'm not a huge, I don't know. I shouldn't
Yeah.
say I'm not a fan because I do like a lot of the Robin Hood movies. But yeah, I saw the one with Russell Crowe. It was fine.
Yeah, that one's all right. But this isn't like that. This is like a weird action flick. I watched it. It looked cool. It just sucks.
Gotcha. I'll avoid that one.
Then he's in Just Mercy. Project Power. That was with Gordon, the kid, Joseph Gordon.
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, that kid. He's in that. They're like superheroes, but they eat a pill that makes them a superhero.
Gotcha.
Spider-Man No Way Home, Day Shift, God is a Bullet, The Clone Tyrone, Strays, The Burial, Not Another Church Movie. I haven't even seen any of those.
Well, he was sick for a while, I think. You remember all that? That was in the news like months back where he basically just disappeared and like people were concerned, so they started
Oh, yeah,
asking.
they're worried about that he got the jab or something, right?
I don't know. I think that's where the conspiracy theorists were going with it. I don't know if that's true or not, but for whatever reason, he disappeared for a bit, and people were concerned. I don't think that, like, yeah, some of them were conspiracy theorists trying to point fingers at the jab being responsible. I don't know. But I think just generally speaking, people just were really concerned.
All right, well, and then he's got another 3 movies that are in production and filming One. So one more this year, and then 3 next year.
All right. Well, seems to me like he's feeling better, which is a good thing if he's got all these, jobs lined up.
We love Jamie Foxx on this show.
Yeah, who doesn't like Jamie Foxx? I mean,
In Living Color, old school, love it.
well, what was his name? Wanda or something like that?
Yeah, Wanda.
Yeah, when he's the
And
job,
then
when he was dressed up in drag. Yeah.
Then he was wasn't he with Duke, the dead dog?
I think so. I forgot all about that skit.
Come on, Duke.
It wasn't it him and Tommy Davidson too that were bodyguards? Remember they had like the bodyguard skit, and they
bouncers were bodyguards.
yeah, there'd be like a famous person that and they wouldn't let him in. Like, nah,
Yeah.
you're not him. Like what?
Yeah, Tupac was in one of them.
Yeah, they would give him like a real hard time. Yeah, it's funny. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, the good.
He always had and he had like the crooked hat on, and Tommy Davidson was like, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, Jamie Foxx would do like all the talking, and Tommy would just yeah to whatever he said. Like, yeah. What he said. Yeah, yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. Good stuff. That show is awesome.
I
Speaking
think
of
it's
not
all-
seeing anybody for a while, where's Kate Middleton? I don't even know nothing about the royal family. I don't follow, care nothing. But apparently, she's been missing since December, or I
What?
shouldn't say missing. She hasn't made a public appearance since
Okay.
December.
Here's what I know about that. I can tell you I haven't heard anything about it in a while. But
Me
when she first disappeared, they put out that fake picture, and then it came out that she's sick. And then I haven't heard a thing since they admitted to her being sick.
No, they uploaded I think 2 more pictures after that, which were quickly debunked as fakes too.
I don't know.
Yeah, strange, man. Very
I just
strange
saw,
stuff.
I just saw the one, and then they were like, she is sick, and then that's it.
Yeah, there's like I think 3 pictures that they put out and then quickly retracted after everybody debunked them and said that they were old. Man, these internet sleuths, man. I mean,
It's not something I follow. I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. I don't follow the royal family. I don't really know nothing about them. To be honest with you, I don't even know who she's married to. Is it Charles? Is it Andrew? Is it Harry? I don't even know.
Yeah,
I could care less.
it's the tall, bald one.
Whatever.
Andrew.
I don't care what the royal family's up to, but I am concerned that Kate is. I hope she's okay. I'll just say that.
Harry's the little redheaded stepchild-looking kid.
Yeah, who's he married to? Is
I
not
don't know,
Kate?
some chick who isn't 100% white, and that pissed everybody off.
Oh, I don't see why that matters, but yeah, I
Dude,
don't
royal-
keep up with the royal family. I keep
royal
up with them
family,
as
I mean-
much as I keep up with celebrities. In
You
America.
gotta remember that, like, England's fucking old.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They've been doing a lot of the same shit for a long time. The dukes and the earls and the lords.
Yes. No doubt.
Most of Europe was like that, and most of Europe was all the countries are a lot smaller.
Well, yeah, most of Europe is old. Not quite as old as China or India per se, but it's fucking old. No doubt.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it's old.
married lines and killing each other and firstborn sons.
Well, bloodlines were important to those people, especially back in the day.
Well, it's how you
Some
made
people
alliances.
still nowadays, but
It was all about alliances.
yeah. Well, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that too, without just the alliances. But yeah,
Yeah, most of the time it was you would marry somebody off to join power with another family.
yeah, and not for love or anything like that. It's to better the family line. And anybody
Yeah.
who's watched Game of Thrones, this really needs no explanation. You already know.
It's the family name that lives on. It's all that lives on. Not your personal glory, not your honor, but family.
Do you understand?
So, yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
What else we got? That was
think
it. That's
I'm-
all I got for Kate Middleton. I hope she's okay. I hope we find her. Or I hope she feels better. Or whatever's going on there.
Did you see the fucking bomb that Israel dropped on like the school with 1,000 people in it?
No, I don't think so.
They killed a couple dozen people. Mad people are hurt with one of our like bunker buster bombs.
I saw the interview or the conversation with Piers Morgan and Ben Shapiro.
Ugh, how'd that go?
I like Piers, man. Ben Shapiro's a fucking idiot.
Yes.
Yeah. But Piers is, I'm a little surprised because Piers usually is direct, but he doesn't really challenge Ben on his Israel thing. He kind of does, but you can see that he's kind of like, he doesn't want Ben to just get up out of the chair and take off, which is exactly probably what would have happened if Piers was acting normal.
Well, Ben Shapiro is like the biggest hypocrite on earth.
I know. That's what I'm saying. As soon as Piers started questioning him and calling him out on some of his bullshit, he would have just got up and left. So I think Piers was kind of being cool about it.
Any credit that when Ben Shapiro once in a while said a couple of good things here and there went out the window when he completely reversed on Israel and was like totally sucking up the cancer culture. And he's like, this guy shouldn't say shit, and you can't say that, and you can't say this.
Yeah, for a right-wing guy to be promoting censorship. And the key is he only promotes censorship if you say something bad about the I word, or the J word.
He used to argue against cancel culture. That was like his thing, man.
I don't know what his deal is. I don't know if he's got masters now or he's just an idiot. Or one or the other.
Well, it's... what do you say? Your feelings don't matter, right? No one cares about your fucking feelings or something?
He said that?
Yeah.
Well, he shouldn't be saying that because he obviously has a whole lot of feelings about I's and J's.
That's what I said. That's what he said before October 7th.
Oh, got you.
When October 7th happened, he went completely pro-Israel.
Yeah, which he has been, yeah.
Well, he's Jewish, so maybe he's just going with it like that.
Well, definitely, and again, it's one thing to to love your people and love your your home state or whatever you want to call it, So I'm fine with that, but Piers, again, he doesn't fully challenge him, and I think if he did, I would be able to say this with more authority than when I'm going to say it now. Ben sort of comes off like, yeah, killing kids and innocent people's bad, but we got to get these terrorists. So if a couple people got to die in order for us to get these terrorists, then that's what needs to happen. He doesn't say that, but that's what I got from watching.
He says the narrative word for word.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's okay with dropping bombs on whomever and killing as many babies as need be, as long as they get Hamas.
They're not babies, they're terrorists.
What?
They're not babies, they're terrorists.
No, I'm talking about the innocent civilians.
Yeah, but Ben Shapiro doesn't see anybody's innocent.
He did address it. They and Piers even said the same thing, like, "Hey, bombing this close to a refugee camp, really?" And again, I don't want to put words in Ben's mouth. Watch it, but it seems to me like Ben's like,
I know Ben's opinions. I've seen them.
He's basically like, "Yeah, that's a bad idea. We shouldn't drop them so close to the refugee camp, where there's innocent people, but."
Yeah.
The Hamas shouldn't be hiding behind innocent people, so we absolutely have to kill them to get to Hamas, is essentially what he's saying.
Which is the narrative coming from the pro-Israel team.
We've already covered this, yeah.
Yeah.
If my mom's living over there, sorry, Mom, we got to bomb your fucking house to kill the terrorists that are hiding in your basement. Sorry, I love you. But we got Hamas. That's what it sounds like to me.
The problem is being a hypocrite on cancel culture because he told people that they shouldn't be able to say things about Israel, which is completely opposite of what he used to say. So he beat for that. And there's no problem with him supporting Israel, right? That's fine. I don't give a shit.
No, that's fine.
But the question is, if your loyalty is going to be to Israel, be open about it. You can't serve two masters. You know what I mean? Like, is it America first or is it Israel first? And if you're Israel first, it's cool. That's your thing, man. But it ain't mine.
And you'll lose a lot of credibility with the American people if you're putting Israel before America.
It's not the game. Well, no, it's not, because the people who watch Ben Shapiro already believe that shit.
They think Israel's more important than really? All of his followers?
Who watches Ben Shapiro?
Nobody younger not than me. That's for sure.
Yeah. Older people.
I'm a Candace Owens fan though, so but
no one listens to her because she's not on major media anymore, except for people Yeah, because we're not normal people. I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the normies? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're looking for Candace Owens or whatever on ABC, yeah, you're not gonna find her.
No,
Or on
and now
Fox.
and now they all think Candace is terrible because of what Ben Shapiro says.
Of course, and of course they want Ben Shapiro's narrative and not Candace's because they want war. So,
And they
Nikki
want-
Haley,
and they
how much
want-
money does Nikki Haley have in the industrial complex? How much
And
money are you
they-
making off of them, Nikki?
They want war because they're told that they want war.
Well, yeah, and again, some of them have stocks, and
Dude, no one's telling the people with stock. I'm talking about the people who vote for these motherfuckers. They are pro-Israel for no reason, just because the TV fucking told them to. They don't know why they're pro.
oh, okay, yeah, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's people like that for literally everything, like
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the
They
super
don't-
weak-minded
well,
folk that will literally believe anything that
That's
a
what
mass
people
group
are
tells
profiting
them.
off of it.
What's that?
I'm not talking about the people profiting off of it.
No, I just mentioned the politicians profiting off of it. So yeah, of course they're going to want to push Ben Shapiro's narrative because it suits their needs.
Well, because every war is a banker's war,
Yeah. Okay.
and there's money to be made, and of course they're going to push for it.
Yeah. In any case, that's the gist I got from it. But if any of you guys haven't seen it, listen to it for yourself. Maybe you'll hear a different version of Ben's words.
I haven't listened to Piers. The last couple times I even listened to Piers, he said something unbelievably stupid, and I just assumed that he's always been stupid.
I like Pierce. Again, I can't think of a single person that I agree with 100%. You included.
Okay, I can't think of one thing Piers Morgan ever said that I agree with.
Oh man, no, I watch Pierce. I agree with a lot of what he says.
How's he feel about? Is he
I don't see all of his stuff. I don't watch him like
okay?
every day. But
What do you agree with him on Ukraine and Israel?
what has he said recently? This is a completely different topic, but he was talking about I don't know if you want to cover this, so if you don't, I'll just stop. But he was talking about trans people in women's sports. That was the conversation.
Okay.
He had
All right.
4 other people on the panel, 2 of them that were for it and 2 of them were against it. So it was a nice, like, kind of even distribution of opinions.
Right.
I'll stop right there unless you want me to tell you what his opinion was, and I agree with him.
You just tell me what side he was on.
He was against biologically born males being in women's sports.
Okay. What do you agree with him on shit that matters, like Israel or Ukraine or taxes?
Well, the last episode I saw before the Ben one, like I said, regarding Israel, he was calling for peace. So yeah, I do agree with him there. Like I said, he was kind of downplaying the Ben.
But so many people are calling for peace now. What was he saying 6 months ago?
What does it
Peace
matter?
is the due talk.
But what does
peace-
that matter? What he said 6 months ago? Maybe he changed his mind.
Is he saying I want peace because the narrative has changed, or does he actually want peace?
How would I know that? I don't know the guy personally.
You
I
just
know what
said
he
you
says on the
listened
air.
to him. You just
Yeah,
said
I
you-
do. I believe him. I believe he really does want peace.
I'm asking
Is
you
he
a question.
saying that just for the camera so he can get ratings?
Fuckhead, I'm asking you a question. If you listen to Piers Morgan, if he was for a peace treaty and no war yesterday, did he say that 6 months ago?
I don't
Hold on, because 6 months ago, the narrative coming from Washington was different than it is today. Washington says the word peace treaty a lot now. So Piers Morgan
don't
suddenly saying it don't mean dick to me.
I don't know. Yeah, I know where you're going with this. You're basically asking if he truly believes that basically if he was brainwashed into going along.
No,
with
this
this
is the
ideology.
brainwash. Is he saying is it his opinion, or is he saying what he's
Because
being
everybody
played
else
into?
is saying it, right? Just going
He's
along
being
with the
played-
group, so to speak. I don't know. I really don't. So I can't really comment on that. Like I said, I listen to him, but I don't. I'll listen to him. Maybe I'll watch 10 minutes of his show, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. So I don't like listen
All right,
to him.
listen, he comes up in my feed from time to time.
Well, check him out.
I'll click on it and I'll let you know how I feel.
As soon
about
as he comes up with a topic that interests you, check him out. Let me know what you think. But I really feel like he's a really good mediator, and he seems to be very centrist in his ideologies. Like he looks at the far left and he's like, y'all are fucking nuts. Looks at the far right like, y'all are fucking nuts. So he seems to be somewhere like in the middle, but I don't know.
Does he openly shit on Biden or kind of make excuses for the left?
He said in last night's episode, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that Biden does not look well. He looks unhealthy. He said that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, he didn't hate on Biden, but he said that. And we've
Right.
said that on this show before. He looks unhealthy to me.
Okay.
You know, by the way, did you see the recent video of him? It's funny
Which
and
one?
it's sad. He appears, I'm not saying he shits himself, but it looks like he's shitting himself.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of sad, man. And Jill comes up, grabs him, walks him off stage immediately when they're supposed to be like greeting veterans or whatever, and then Macron takes over. I don't know what happened, but at first glance, it looks like he had an accident. Again, guys,
Listen, I've never heard Piers Morgan utter anything really against the left.
you know, the thing is, man, is that we change, right? Like we've talked about it a couple times. What I said a year ago may not be how I feel now, you know?
Okay.
And yeah, you could argue that maybe, the masses shifted this way and convinced me to think that way, which is certainly possible with some things, you know, but that's generally not the case for me. But I think it's okay. You know, Chris Cuomo, for example, right? We were talking about him earlier where he said all of these terrible things during COVID, right? What he should have done when he went on Dave Smith, and which probably would have got him a round of applause and maybe some cheers from the crowd, was to be like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry for what I said. I apologize to all of the
Right.
people that, you know.
And if you had seen the debate, that's what literally Dave said to him.
But he didn't do that.
No, because he
Right.
doubled down on his lies and he defended himself.
Right.
Because he still has a little love for the CNN.
Which makes me lose respect for him. Have I lost
Well-
all respect for Cuomo? No. But did this help him, in my opinion, of Chris Cuomo? Absolutely not. He definitely lost some of my respect for doing
what I
that.
see of Piers Morgan, he's still towing the party line.
Again, maybe he is. I don't watch him enough to really like have an idea, but
Okay.
you know, from what I've seen from him recently, I agree with what he said. Now, whether he's just going along with it because the masses are going along with it and he wants to be in a good PR standing, or I don't know, but
Well,
I haven't gotten that part. I haven't gotten that from him.
Does he have his own show on the internet, or is he still on?
No, he's on a major network. I
Oh,
think
okay.
it's
Then
BBC.
then he's doing what he's told.
He very well might be, but it still doesn't mean that I disagree with what he's been saying
Okay.
lately. Whether he, for whatever reason he's saying it or going along with it, you know.
You just gotta. That's fine. As long as you know where the dude's coming from.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I don't know one way or the other, but maybe I should just start watching a lot more of him and maybe try to come to the determination whether he's just saying that to say it or not, or whether he actually legitimately believes it. I guess my point is that just because you said something in the past, that doesn't necessarily mean that you still think that, right? Like
Right.
you yourself, you know, go back 20 years ago and
Yeah.
pick up a topic and then ask you then and now ask you now, and you might get a totally different answer.
Yeah, but I admit to that.
Yeah, right, and as do I. You know, I've said a ton of things in the past that I totally disagree with. You know, myself saying, you know, my old self. You know, if I go back in a time machine, I'd be like, "What are you, fucking idiot?" Don't say that. You know,
Anybody who's still working for the mainstream media, right?
right?
And 100% knows they're full of shit. They're doing it to get paid.
I don't think so.
After everything that's come out, hold on. After
think- go
everything,
ahead.
I'm not talking about 5 years ago. I'm talking about now. Since COVID, since all this bullshit has come out, Russiagate, COVID, Trump, the election, all of that shit, and you're still pushing the mainstream media because that's your job. You don't want to lose your standing in society of what being Piers Morgan means to Piers Morgan. Because if he leaves CNN or BBC, he's a nobody again.
That's a fair
know what I
argument.
mean?
Yeah, it's a fair argument. That I have to say what I think my fan base wants to hear, because otherwise I'll lose all of these followers.
Listen, that's what Tucker
fair.
did.
That's fair.
Tucker's like, I was doing what they told me to do, and then all of a sudden I woke the fuck up, and I was like, that's not correct. And then they fired him.
Yeah. So that's actually a good example. I understand your point, and I think you're correct. Yeah, absolutely. Could he just be saying this shit because this is what his fan base wants to hear, and he wants to keep his ratings?
It has
Sure.
nothing to do with Paul. Stop saying fan base. It has nothing to do with his fucking fan base. He's saying it because the people who pay him tell him what to say, and then the fan base listens. He's not going with the crowd. He's teaching the sheep when to buy.
Okay, I got you now. Yeah, that's also possible, at least in the case of Pierce.
Well, that's what people do to watch the news. You know what I mean? They don't go to see honest debates anymore. People watch CNN and people watch Fox because it makes you feel good about already agreeing with what you agree with.
Yeah, and obviously you've noticed that. But yeah, everybody on mainstream media always seems to agree. However, I don't know if you've seen any of this recently. It's actually been backfiring in a spectacular fashion. But have you seen some of the guests like The View has had on? You know, Bill Maher is another one. And I credit to Bill Maher and credit to The View for having some of these opposing voices on there. But like in The View's case, they're getting absolutely obliterated by some of these arguments that they're presenting. Credit
It's
to them
funny
there.
you said Bill Maher because Bill Maher might have killed it on The View, but he got murdered by Bill Burr.
Bill Maher has gotten murdered, I think, by the last 4 or 5 people that I've seen come on with opposing viewpoints.
Yeah,
But
I love his Israel response is like, really? Come on. You believe that? Nah.
yeah, he deflects a lot. But
And Bill Burr is like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, yeah.
yeah, I think Bill Maher is coming around though. I've always thought
No.
Bill Maher was a
No,
smart
no, no,
guy.
see, I
We'll
keep
see.
Bill Maher every once in a while says some good shit. I've shared his stuff on Facebook. I've shared his information. I've even agreed with him a bunch of times. But for all the times that he says something good, at the end of the day, he's still blue no matter who. You know what I mean?
I think he's coming around, and I'm
No,
not talking
I-
about Democrats or Republicans. I think he's waking the fuck up.
I think I've been listening to him much longer than you, so his game is the same game it's been for a minute. He'll say some good shit on something like, "What are we doing in sports? What are we doing with this socially? What are we doing with that?" He makes some great points, but then at the end of the day, even he'll criticize the shit out of Biden, and then he's like, "But you got to vote for him, right?" Like, why would
Yeah,
you not?
yes, yeah, he does do that. Yes, absolutely. And we've already talked about that in I think in the previous episode or the one before that. Yeah, absolutely, he does.
Or
that.
even, sorry, I didn't-
Oh, just vote for this side because you're a member of the party, which is even though you don't like the person, which is fucking stupid.
And on Israel, he's like, "No, they're not doing that. No, that's not true. No.
I think he's waking up, but yeah, he's still asleep. He's
Like
still
Israel
got like his head on the pillow and shit. Yeah.
I don't know. He's been his once in a while good thing has not increasing. His once in a while good thing stays at a steady. Every 3 months, I have a piece of wisdom.
I mean, I'll be honest. I agree with a lot of what he says when it comes to like his morals and his ethics and stuff.
Yeah,
I
his
agree with
his ethics are shit.
Well, again, I think he's a good human being. He means well. He's a good person. He just doesn't understand the magnification of what the hell's really fucking going on. So he gets sucked into this shit, not realizing that he's being sucked into it. Like Tucker, for example, right? You just kind of said earlier, where like Tucker was just basically doing what his, masters wanted him to do, his bosses wanted him to do back in the day. And a lot of the stuff that Tucker said, he actually believed at the time.
Until he asked questions.
Until he started asking questions. Bill hasn't asked enough questions yet.
He still will be like, but you got to vote for him. So he can say 100 good things and make all these good points. All of his points lead to not voting for Joe Biden.
And then he
But he's
tells
like,
you to vote for Joe Biden at the end.
You got to vote for him because you can't not vote blue. Because imagine Trump as president. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they said last time.
We have a duty to our country to keep Trump out of office because he'll take over and.
And everything that
Whatever.
they said Trump was going to do in 2016, he didn't do, and Biden did
And
it
Biden's
in
done.
2020.
Yeah.
Biden got into more wars. Biden weaponized the justice system against him. Literally everything they blamed on Trump, they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. And possibly even rigged the election, but that's a whole different.
I'm not getting into that.
We're not going to go there. But yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Biden is way more authoritative, totalitarian than Trump is. So it's just really hypocritical. And I find it kind of humorous that they keep pointing the finger at Trump and calling him all these things when Biden is the epitome of all this shit. And
The
a lot
one
of the
thing
people that he works
the
with.
one thing I was never wrong about, even when I was a Republican, is that the hypocrisy of the left is unmatched in the level of hypocrisy.
I think there's hypocrisy on both sides, to be fair, but yeah, it's funny to me.
I'm not saying it's there's not on both sides, but it's overwhelmingly ridiculous on the left.
Right.
Think of a Republican politician who did anything. It's on the news and he's crucified. The left does fucked up shit all the time, and it's barely even on the news. Half the time, it doesn't even make the majority of the time. It doesn't make the news.
No, you're right. That's a fair argument. We seem to have some kind of one-way street. Where basically one side is, smeared and punished and all of these things for doing whatever, and then if the other side does the same things, oh, it's no big deal.
Right, but the thing is that the second party, whoever's not in charge, is still happy enough to be in second place, because second place still wields a lot of power for those people who are living comfortably in that life, in the Washington game.
Sure.
Which is another reason they work together to keep third parties out, because at least it's just you and me having to work this out, as opposed to...
Well, it's easier to control two sides than it is to control six sides, for example. Fuck, now we got to get these other fucking four people to fall in line.
But it's not two sides. They make it look like it's two sides when it comes to social shit.
It's one side.
At the end of the day, it's one coin, one side's red, one side's blue, but it's the same fucking coin.
It's the same coin, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, we've talked about this. They fund both sides. They fund parties on both ends, and they make sure that they both meet in the final match.
Because we'll argue about abortion, we'll argue about guns, we'll argue about trans rights, we'll argue about Jesus in schools.
Yeah.
Right? But they never argue about spending. They never argue about the wars. When it comes to the shit that screws us over and takes away our rights, they are lockstep, holding hands together.
Because they serve the same masters.
Yes.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you have in office at that point. So yeah, I mean, if you're funding both sides, you never fucking lose, dude. You always win. Well, I have a bet on this person and I bet on this person, so regardless, I'm gonna win. So yeah, it's like you said, man. We never really touch like the serious issues. Like, how can we really make this country the fucking best country ever? We don't. Yeah, this stuff is important, the stuff that they're talking about, but like the real bread and butter of the issues, like you said, the spending. How do we make houses affordable for every American? How do we... They don't talk about that shit because they don't want that shit. The powers that be don't want that. They need the class system to stay in place, and they need it the way it is.
When you say things like, how do we... The right thing to say is, how do we make houses more affordable? And when you say how to do it and you rely on the government to do it, that's not going to work.
Yeah, if this hasn't, if this actually playing out hasn't told us all that already.
Right. Because in a free market, if people have money and people want houses, someone's going to build you a fucking house somewhere because there's money to be made.
Well, so I've been posing this question now for quite a while, at least the last 6 months, possibly longer than that, right? So I say this to a lot of boomers, like my parents and stuff. Like, if you could go back to the 60s, right? We're back in the 60s, and I tell you, hey, 50, 60 years from now, right? We're going to have all this infrastructure. We're going to have all of this technology. We're going to be able to build homes faster, better, and quicker faster and better than ever. Do you think that homes will be more affordable or less affordable in 60 years from now? Seems like a pretty straightforward question, right? And I get the same answer every time. Oh, they should be cheaper. Yeah, more infrastructure, more technology. They're easier to build. We can build them quicker. But that's not the case. Why is that not happening?
Government.
Well, not just that, but you spend a whole lot of time talking about inflation. But yeah, it's all tied to the.
Well, inflation is because of the government.
Yes. Yeah.
Inflation is the result of the government trying to help.
Right. And fucking it up royally.
They screw us over because they do it under the disguise of help. when it's actually theft.
Yes, I agree.
Because if you raise taxes, people get pissed. It's called the Laffer curve, right? Art Laffer was a economist under Reagan. He gets credited with Reagan with trickle down, but if you actually know what trickle down is, it's a made up word. It's not even what trickle down does. But I can't even remember. It's supply side or demand side economics. But I know what both of them are, but I can never remember which one's which. But there's a line between where you can tax people and they won't revolt. You know what I mean? There's a line somewhere in there where there's a median of production and not overtaxing. Because when you tax too much, production will come down.
Right.
When you cut taxes, production increases. So the theory was you cut taxes to have people invest in production to grow. That's what trickle down was supposed to be. It's demand side, supply side economics, whatever the fuck it is.
Okay.
It was never meant to raise the missing tax funds by stealing it from people. They tried to produce the wealth. You know what I mean? Get production going, and then more people are spending, and then you can get your tax money.
Well, regardless of what the cause is, right? And again, you've done a pretty good job explaining it all the way back through last episode, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless, the fact is this is a massive problem, I think. You know, again, you have all of these homeless people, all these people finishing college, people in their early 30s can't afford a home. This is not the American dream, right? What was the American dream? You know, you go out, you work hard. It's non-existent, essentially.
Well,
the American dream nowadays is conformity.
The American dream that you're talking about is the post-World War II dream.
The nuclear family, right?
Yeah, well, all of it. The boom, all the American. You can go to college, you can buy a house, you can have a family. That shit.
Yes.
The American dream.
Right, which is a lie.
Well, it's a lie because of what they did.
Yeah, it was a thing back in the day, probably up until the 80s, 90s. Nowadays, it's a lie. So, yeah, you're not going to finish college at 22 years old with a bachelor's in fucking pretty much anything and go out and buy a home at all. Pretty much, not anytime soon. Go ahead.
When the government decided to back student loans and guaranteed the loans, that was the mistake. Because then the same thing with lending to a shitty borrower for a house.
Well, the whole system's fucked up, man, when you look at it from the ground up, right? So, okay. So, Billy, if you finish high school and you go on to college because you're going to need this piece of paper, you'll be able to join the workforce and, succeed and, be really successful in society. Well, the issue is...
Let me stop you there. That made sense 30 years ago. But since then, there was only, let's say just for argument's sake, 1,000 colleges 30 years ago. Now there's like 5,000 colleges. Because the student loan money was guaranteed loans. The payment, even if the student never paid it back, it was guaranteed by the government. So banks who give out student loans have no incentive to see if you're a good borrower. They just give that shit to you.
Because they were going to get the money back anyway.
Schools know that they can jack up the price because you're just going to get the loan anyway. So prices went up. Schools popped up because there was so much money involved. And they also added so many ridiculous degrees on top of it that the leg up, the incentive of having a college degree to get you that job got oversaturated, and everyone's got a degree. You almost need a master's now. Master's
that's part of that's part of it. But you're missing the big picture here. So this is how these motherfuckers trap you. This is the money game, right? This is your department, right? The money schemers, right? So again, I'm using you as an example, but we're really talking about the average American person here, right?
That's fine.
Okay, great. You finish high school, you go off to college. Again, you're going to need this degree to be successful. Oh, well, I would love to go to college because I'd love to learn and stuff, but I don't have any money and my parents aren't really well off, so I can't go. No problem.
Yep.
We'll lend you the money. So, boom. You haven't even fucking started class yet, and your ass is already in debt. They already have you. They already have you by the balls, man. I mean, that's the big problem with this. So you're already indebted to society, and you haven't even joined fucking society yet. You're already in debt. And I think that's one of the big problems with college. If you're going to make it that everybody needs to have this piece of paper to be able to succeed in society, that shit needs to be free for the public to go and do.
No.
Well, then you can't demand that I have this fucking piece of paper, because now you're only allowing people with wealth or that have expendable money to achieve these things. And yeah, the other people can join in too, but you're already upside down before you fucking graduate college. You already owe money.
Maybe college isn't the best idea for you.
Maybe. But again, it's rigged. I feel like it's rigged against you. It's rigged against you. Like I said, you're already in debt and you haven't even sat down for class yet.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, but it wasn't like that. It changed to this.
They changed it, yes.
Because of the student loan system.
Whatever it is. They're creating financial slaves before you even go to school.
That's exactly what I just said.
Yeah, you're already indebted to the system.
Yeah, because you got to borrow money to go to school because they told you that the degree was important, but because they ruined the degree by making the money cheap and adding so many colleges that you were no longer special for going to college. You no longer earned it. Everyone got it.
Everybody got it, but again, most of those people that got it now have a massive debt.
It doesn't matter how you got it, because even if you're rich and you paid for it without the loan, it's still the same degree that someone who borrowed money for to get it.
Yes, but again, that's a separate thing. So yeah, that person now has a degree. They're not in debt. They're free to go out and start earning money right away and stashing it in the bank and hopefully buying a house soon.
And the other person's got to pay their debt off. But
yeah,
that's
good luck buying a house when you're all fucking 50 grand in debt or 100 grand in debt or whatever it is.
Student loans don't count against mortgages.
No, they don't. But when you're paying a monthly student loan back, let's say you borrowed 50 grand. Right?
I know how it works.
Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, how long is it going to take you to pay back 50 grand?
Oh, 300. It depends on how long you took the loan out for.
Obviously, it depends on how much money you're contributing a month to. How much money do you think the average American can contribute per month to student loans?
You don't need to convince me that taking out student loan adds more debt to a person.
I'm saying it basically wrecks the person. It's like putting them in the game, but you put them in the game without the proper equipment. Like you're in a hockey fucking game, but nobody gave you a stick. So great, I don't have ice skates or a stick. What the fuck am I doing? Now I got to go out and buy a fucking stick and skates, and I don't have any money. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You're already upside down before you even start.
But that is how it's done right now.
But the process is fucked, man. They're just, like I said, they're just creating more financial slaves.
So what do you... how do you plan on, changing it? What, are you just complaining that this is the way it is?
I'm not. I'm just pointing it out. Hey, this is a massive problem. Our fucking system sucks. It sucks. It sucks. There's nothing else I can say about it.
Yeah. So, but we fucked it. So the question is, how
we didn't fuck anything, but the previous generations fucked it.
We as whatever the fuck. Right. Well, no, we did fuck it because we demanded that everyone get an education. So it's our fault for voting for people who wanted to give us loans.
Who's we? Me and you?
No, we as the public, not you and me. One side.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I'm not hating on school. I love education. I love to learn.
Not the point.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how important you might or might not think it is. The question is, you took the loan out for it.
Okay. So when you take out a loan, when you're, again, this is the average kid, right? 18, just out of fucking high school.
It doesn't matter.
It does fucking matter. They don't even have any idea what fucking papers they're signing. Unless you have a goddamn law degree, but you don't because you haven't even gone to college yet. Of course you just sign on the dotted line. And then before you know it, you finish college, you're 100 grand in debt. You can kiss buying a house goodbye, at least for the near future, because you need to pay off this fucking college debt. And in addition to whatever else you're paying, rent, electric, phone.
Okay.
So I don't understand. You're a money guy. You don't see this as basically financial entrapment? I mean, again, these are young kids. We were all there. We were all young. When I signed these papers for this loan, I don't know what the fuck I'm signing. I'm a kid.
Okay, but it happened, motherfucker. That's my point.
It did. But
It did,
what I'm
okay.
saying is our system sucks because it creates financial slavery. So you're already indebted to the system. You haven't gotten anything yet. You haven't gotten a piece of knowledge
Right,
because you
right,
haven't
wait,
gone to
wait, wait.
class, and you already owe these fuckers money. Already.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But technically, you made the conscious decision to take out that loan.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And if you want to
Okay.
hold technically you were 18, you were 19 when you signed the
Well,
thing,
but
you
you
were an
weren't
adult.
aware.
Technically,
weren't-
yes.
Did anybody force you to sign it?
No, how smart were you when you were 18 or 19, though? How
No,
smart?
it doesn't matter,
Yeah,
man.
it fucking
doesn't
matters,
matter.
bro. It definitely matters. The fact that they're offering these loans to basically brand new adults, they just
Okay,
turned 18
okay.
last year, whatever.
Okay. You just said a minute ago you wanted education to be free.
If you're going to make it so that I need a piece of paper to make a decent living on society, yeah, it should be fucking free. If it's going to be some bonus shit, like, hey, you should give me the job over this person because I have a degree and he doesn't, that's a different story. Then, yeah, of course it should be privatized. And yeah, you should have to pay for that. But
Okay,
but that's not what
we're-
happened.
We're both agreeing of what is happening right now. So the question is, what do you do from here? What do you do? Like, here are the rules. This is what happened. It might not be fair, but suck it the fuck up.
I have
and
a
this is
quick
what you have
solution.
to do.
Take
What?
away the piece of paper. Take it away.
From who?
You don't you don't need a fucking bachelor's degree to get a 75K job a year. That's what I'm saying.
Why? It depends on the job.
Of course it does.
Okay.
I'm just speaking in general, of
The
course.
piece of paper.
You can
gives-
you can skip college and be an auto mechanic and make
Yes, you
75K
can.
a year.
Good, motherfucker. Then do it. But what the degree does is it it's still a degree. I mean, it gives you the proof that you might have done this.
Piece of
So,
paper that says that I finished a couple classes with a passing grade. That's what it is.
Okay.
I could have gotten that knowledge without going to college and not being
Good.
fucking 50 grand in debt, 100 grand in debt.
That's a fucking wonderful story. So how is your boss going to know that you're smart enough to do this job without the fucking piece
Well,
of paper?
hopefully he interviews you, which is not happening nowadays. Everything's fucking,
Right,
online.
but if you're offering a good job and 1,000 people apply, you can't interview 1,000 people. So you're like, you know what? I'll only take people with college degrees. I'll only take people with 5 years experience. You know what I mean?
Sure,
So-
and as a private company, yeah, you absolutely can do that. Hey, we're only going to hire people with degrees. Sure. Leave that up to each individual company,
But the
maybe there's...
state does the same thing. You have to have a 2-year degree to be a cop now.
Why? Why can't I just go to the police academy outside? What the fuck I got to study criminology for?
Why the fuck are you asking why? Because the government put it there for a reason.
Yeah, so you can be financially in debt to the government before you even be a cop. That's... maybe it's just me, but that's how I see it.
No, because you can go to county for $1,000 a year.
You're still paying for something, you're already in debt, or you've already paid for something that you don't have. So it's what's the difference?
Well, how else do you get something you don't have?
Well, again, if we're talking about like I want to be a cop, right? So okay, I have to go to the police academy, which is legit.
To be a cop, you have to go through these certain steps.
Yeah,
one
but
of
not
them-
if
One of them is taking a couple classes. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what it is. Just because you think you don't have to do it doesn't change a fucking thing.
No,
You might think you're
what
a
I-
fucking doctor. Stop. You might think you're a fucking doctor, but you didn't go. You don't have the medical degree to prove it. But you read some books. You're
doctors
smart.
is different.
No, it doesn't because it's a doctor. It could be anything.
It's different.
Okay, you're a mechanic, but you don't have the piece of paper that says
You're
you're
working on cars, not people's lives, so it's different.
No, it's not, because it's a job's a job. You could be making fucking widgets. But if someone's more qualified for the job, they're more fucking qualified.
Oh, no argument there. No
It's not
argument
that
there.
the paper gives them the qualification. So you might shit on the paper all you want. But the bottom line is that's what it does. It might not be worth as much because 6,000 schools give the same degree.
What
But that degree is something that some other motherfucker doesn't have.
What I'm suggesting is that yes, for like more prestigious jobs like doctors, lawyers, things like that, yeah, you're going to have to go to college.
There's no such thing as a prestigious job. Every job is different.
Prestigious is the wrong word.
Every job requires a skill. Okay?
Yes.
You either have the skill, you're going to learn the skill, or you don't fucking have it.
What I'm suggesting to you is that for general jobs, again, I'm not talking about fucking brain surgeons. I'm not talking about
whatever.
Right. For general stuff, you want to be a fucking firefighter, you want to be a cop, you want to whatever. Why do I have to go to fucking school for 2 years, 4 years, whatever the fuck, when you guys can teach me whatever I need to know in the police academy? 6 months.
Obviously,
whatever.
they think that the police academy isn't enough training, and they'd rather you pay to go to school instead
Again,
of them
it's
paying.
another trap, man. And all this schooling seems to be
Okay,
doing.
motherfucker, then don't be a cop.
Look, I don't know how much further we're going to get on this conversation. I see this as financial entrapment. You obviously see it a different way.
You say it's a financial entrapment. I'm saying you still made the decision. You chose to take the loan.
Sure.
You chose. Stop. You chose to try to be a cop, but now you're like, oh, I don't want to go to college, so you can't be a cop. Choose something you can do, and if you can't do it, acquire the needs or the skill to get it done, and then get your fucking job.
That's the
it's not
problem.
anybody else or anybody's fault for you to make a decision.
No, that's the problem, though. You need a fucking degree for virtually every fucking job. Like, that's what I'm saying.
And everybody knows that. So if you pay attention, the job market is shifting.
I don't understand why this isn't registering for you. So if everybody knows that, everybody is now going to financially entrap themselves because we all need this degree so that we can survive, not making millions of dollars in society, just having a fucking decent job. That's
okay,
what
is your fucking point?
My point is if you're gonna require pieces of paper for these people to have a decent job, firefighter, cop, whatever.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It does. It matters because
why does the person who wants to cut hair need 1,000 hours of practice before they can actually?
They shouldn't. That's my argument. Why am I already in debt when all I want to do is cut hair? What's the worst thing that's going to happen today? I'm going to fuck this person's hair up and they're never going to come back to me again. It's a little different than saying, hey, a brain surgeon doesn't really need to go to school. Well, if you're going to cut somebody's scalp open, yeah, you kind of need to go and get some.
All right, Paul, if you want to be a cop, you have to know something about the fucking law. So maybe you got to go take some law classes.
Yeah, but why do I have to fucking be indebted to? Yeah, why isn't it a free class? Okay, you graduated high school. I want to be a cop. I got to go take Police 101. But fortunately, it's a 6-month course. It's free, so no big deal. You know, the police department pays for it through taxes. Whatever.
Exactly. You just said it's no big deal, so you have no incentive to stick it out. If you paid your own money, you have incentive to stick it out.
No, you'd have incentive to stick it out because I want to be a fucking cop. Like, if I wanted to be a cop, this is free, so hey, you know what? I'm not really doing that good in it, so fuck it. I'll go do something else. Sure, people are going to do that. But the bulk of people that go are going to want to finish what they started.
That's awesome. I don't care about that. What you just did is took my tax money to make some shit free that people who don't feel like finishing it just wasted all the money because they didn't feel like finishing the fucking course. It's not on me to help you get your training to get a job.
It's one way to look at it, I suppose. You know we have socialist programs, Jeff, in America, right? I know how much you love socialism, but we do have socialist programs.
You're going to say schools because the government
Well,
pays for it.
The fucking police department, right? Where's the police department come from? It's coming from our taxes, right? We pay for that shit.
Military, fire, and cops aren't considered that because it's part. You need that for the state. It has nothing to do with the government. Socialism is a government.
Okay.
It's a form of government.
So we need
law enforcement. You need law enforcement with or without government. It's not a socialist thing. You need it regardless.
Well, again, it's money that's being paid from our taxes, right? So you know what?
Yeah,
I mean, we can continue on with this.
If you want to argue that the state needs to supply you with the police, because technically you could have private fucking police.
My argument is simple. If all these fucking general jobs require a piece of paper, it shouldn't cost me 50 fucking grand to get a piece of paper. 20 grand. It shouldn't cost me 10 grand to get a piece of fucking paper.
It's not, dude, it's not how it works. That's regardless.
How does it work? How does it work? Explain it to me. I want to be a cop.
What does it take to be a cop? Follow the fucking rules.
No, apparently I have to go get a 2-year degree.
Okay, that's required to be a cop.
Great. So
Well,
I'm already in debt. I'm already an indentured servant, and I haven't even stepped on
Okay,
the
Paul.
force for day one as a cop yet.
Okay.
That's my point, dude. It's
You're-
it's entrapment. And
You
yeah, you
don't-
can go back and be like, hey, this 18-year-old fucking kid shouldn't have signed the papers, but they did.
Then don't go to school.
Then don't
you don't
require
have to-
everything to have a college degree.
You don't have to do it.
No, but then you. So what options do you have? Okay, you
Jobs
don't go to
that-
college. Right out of high school, I'm going into the workforce. I have trade school, right?
Okay, maybe you should go to a fucking trade school.
I have trade school. I
Can't
have,
sit here and
I have
no, you can't-
hospitality.
This person that has nothing to do with that. If you want to play, if you think you need a degree and you can't afford one, you choose to take the loan. It's on you. Just because the system's fucked up, you still chose to take the fucking loan.
Yeah,
off,
that's
dude.
fair. But again, my point with that is I don't think a lot of people know what they're fucking signing up for. You
It
know,
doesn't matter because
it's kind of manipulating young people into signing into indebting themselves without them even realizing the full capacity of what's going on. Hey, if I sign this paper, I'm going to be able to go to school. You know, not realizing that, hey, 6 years from now, I'm going to have to pay back $75,000. They're young. They don't think about this shit, man. You didn't think about this when you were young. I didn't think about this.
I thought about having to pay it back when I took my loans out.
How much did you think about it? You know, like most kids
I knew,
don't
I knew
really.
what I had to do, man. That's not the point. Just I didn't think about it. I was too young to be responsible to
I
make
think-
the decision. I still did it.
I think most kids are
I
old enough
don't
to.
care how most kids are. It doesn't matter how most kids are. It doesn't matter how one kid is.
All right, I'm going to disagree. Like I said, I
don't-
think the
I
system
don't
is
even know what-
manipulative.
I don't even know what point you're trying to make besides the system's fucked up.
The point I'm trying to make is it's kind of rigged to keep you to keep you indebted. You know,
It was, but now people know that maybe college is the best thing. It has to adapt.
well, we didn't know that. So if you have
Because
student loans,
Of course we didn't know that. We know it now, you fuckhead.
yeah, but it's
no
too
one-
late because you already took those loans.
but
So you're
nobody
already
knew that.
indebted.
Stop fucking talking for a second. Because we know that shit now. Nobody knew it back then. Everybody thought back then that you had to go to school.
Yeah.
Now we don't think like that. The majority of people know that college is in the same game. There wasn't 6,000 colleges in 1999.
That's part of the problem. I'll acknowledge that. But yeah, I just generally I don't like the system at all. I feel like it's completely
Okay.
rigged. They're young people, at least maybe not now, but they were manipulated or persuaded or encouraged. Pick the adjective, whatever verb.
Yes. Yes,
To
they were encouraged.
go to college because
were-
the idea was if you don't go to college, you will be making 40 grand a year for the rest
Yes.
of your life. They didn't come out
Yes.
and say it like that, but that's how it was presented to us. When we finished high school, right, it was either join the military, go to a trade school, or go to college.
Jesus. Right. Why can't you understand that 1999 is not today? In 1999, a degree got you a job. So that's why in 1999 they told us to go to college. In 2024, the degree is not the same. The degree is watered down just like the dollar bill is. So to sit there and be like, we knew, you know what I mean? Like now is different. Now tell your kid not to go to school. Now tell your kid to get a trade job. Now tell your kid to go to county for 2 years first. You know what I mean?
I think maybe we're having two separate arguments because yeah, I agree with that. It's different. It's different now than it was then. But all of those people, this is our generation, the generation just underneath us. All of these people are now indebted to whoever the fuck owns these loans, whatever, banks, whomever, it doesn't matter, fucking government, whatever. So yeah, I think that's a massive problem, and it's contributing to the housing market. And among other things,
But again, the most important thing that we have to remember is that people made purposeful decisions. And that's all that matters. As long as no one held a gun to your head and made you sign the paper, you did it out of your own free will.
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course not. I'm just arguing whether you had the mental fortitude to be able to realize the capacity of what you were actually signing. Yes, I realize that I'm going to sign this. You guys are going to lend me money, and I'm going to pay it back later. That's about as far as I get in my 18-year-old mind. I don't really understand the magnifications of this. I understand that, yes, I'm going to owe them money, but it's cool because I'll be making $100,000 a year and I'll pay them back. But that's not the reality of it. And I think what they did was wrong. So
what I'm saying is, at a time, it was the reality.
Yes.
And okay, stop. So at the time, it was the reality, right? People were like, "Oh shit, you go to college, you get a better job, you make more money. We should have more kids go to school." Well, school's expensive. Okay, let's give kids loans. Still, not enough kids can take out the loans because they're not good credit sources. Okay, then let's guarantee the loans by the government so everyone can go to college. And you fucked up college. That is how it happened.
All right, well, that's fair. Regardless of how it happened.
So a kid who decides today to take out student loans looks at it different than a kid in '99 did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
So when we were like, oh shit, loans, I can pay it back. It was probable. I didn't worry about getting loans. I was still worried about getting a house. Now these kids can't pay for school or pay for a house, and they don't even buy cars. They just go on vacations all the time.
All right, that's fair. Like I said, I think we were maybe arguing two different points. Can we at least agree that when we were presented college, when we were kids in high school and whatnot, that it was a bit of financial entrapment?
No, because if you got the right degree, you could have paid it off in '99.
Okay. Well, what if that right degree wasn't what you wanted to do with the rest of your life?
Then I fucked up and made the wrong choice. That's what happens. You make a choice
all the time. How do you know what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 18, 19, 20?
It doesn't matter. You still make a choice. And every choice you make, there's still 100 choices you didn't make. So all those things can happen too. But you made a choice, and that's how it goes.
All right.
Maybe you shouldn't have opened a business. Maybe you shouldn't have bought that car. Maybe you should have done this. Who knows?
All right.
Well, I'm telling you, kids today look at college, at least they should, differently, because the game is not the same. The game is adapted to something else because of fucking greed and corruption.
All right. Well, I do agree with I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but yeah, I still don't. I don't see this as not being financial entrapment. Again, we didn't know. Our parents didn't know. Our teachers didn't know. But
any loan it's not entrapment if you choose to take the loan.
It is if you feel that you have to take the loan in order to get a good enough job where you can sustain yourself. Again, I'm not talking about $250K a year jobs. I'm talking about normal jobs. Normal shit.
But you don't have to get a college education to make good money.
Well, there are other alternatives, right?
Yes.
But most of...
Exactly. So don't take the student loans.
Okay, let's move on.
It's fucked up that you can take a $25,000 loan out to go to school, but you can't take a $25,000 loan out to start your fucking business. You know what I mean?
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
But that's the way it is. So because it's the way it is, you got to play it that way.
Okay.
So if you got a kid who wants to go to college, I told my sister's kids, I'm like, you sure you want to go to college? It's fucking different, but you know.
Well, nowadays technology obviously changes the game a lot. We didn't have any of this shit when we were growing up. Well, no, it definitely does. So you brought something up, I think about a year ago, you and our San Francisco buddy, and I argued with you on it. And I'm going to reverse my stance and side with you. You said, do we need a school system or something like that, you know? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, what are we going to do for school? And you're like, well, we just get rid of it. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. That's crazy. I don't know if you still feel the same way or what your argument was, but I thought about it for a while. And yeah, you're right. Or if you still feel that way. With today's technology, there's no real reason to send any of your kids to school. You can literally teach them whatever you need to teach them on a fucking tablet.
I look at it like this. First of all, the federal government should not be paying for school. We should not be paying taxes to the federal government for school. Now, I'm talking about the state. I'm talking about the Fed.
Right.
Okay? I think school should be way more localized because kids growing up in Pennsylvania don't need to know the same shit as kids growing up in Wisconsin. We need math. We need English. We need to read and write. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But kids growing up in Wisconsin might need to learn how to work on a fucking farm or they might need shit about tractors when kids
fair.
over here want to do city planning. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
and then to top it off, if you want to supply, I mean, it is good in general to have a smart and skilled population, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll easily argue that we give kids. Not only does this college thing screw you up, but we've focused public education on going to college, not here's what you need to know, and then here's some stuff you might want to fuck with to find out your career. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Yeah.
You probably stop going to school after 8th grade.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Unless you want to, like, if you're going to do some shit with math, okay, well, after 8th grade, you can go to a specialty school or a private school, but not even a private school. It could be a program with you and 10 other people, and you do 4 hours of math a day. You know what I mean?
That sounds miserable.
Well, whatever.
I know. I was just joking. No, I feel you. I'm not even sure that you even need to do that nowadays. Obviously, the decision should be up to the parents. You know, whether they want to send their kid to public school. I think that it's great for social reasons, obviously, something that a lot of younger people nowadays seriously lack, unfortunately. But generally speaking, I think with the tech we have nowadays, you don't have to send your kid to school if you don't want to. Yes, they'll miss that social aspect, which I think is very important. But you can supplement that, by letting them,
there's a bunch of
join
ways
their
to
peer
supplement
groups and
that.
their friends. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that.
There's nothing wrong with homeschooling. I don't like the fact that if you don't have kids in school, you got to pay for schools, because I think that's theft too.
It's fair. Yeah, why should I have to pay for your kids to use this function if I'm not? My kids aren't using it. Sure.
Based on the way that the education system has developed in this country, especially in the last 35 years, okay, that we've shown that public school is miserably failing. And we don't need as much of the shit they're learning in high school is not necessarily needed for everyone.
Yeah, fair.
At a certain age, like, you can't. Most kids are not made to sit in line and learn. You know what I mean?
Wasn't. Yeah, no,
Let's
absolutely.
Let's save the Prussian shit for another time.
Yeah, we don't get into all that. But we could sit here and talk about the Department of Education for the next 3 hours. But yeah, we're already at almost 3 hours now. But yeah, no, I agree with I agree with that. So
you got to remember, one of my favorite memes is the government. They will never teach you what you need to know to overthrow them. So they will not teach you about the Fed in school. They won't teach you about that shit. They won't teach you that college is going to screw you over. They teach you that's what you need to do, because that is where they start the, I guess for lack of a better term, the PSYOP. You know what I mean?
Didn't I just say that, like, in a roundabout way? It is a PSYOP.
Yeah,
it's a PSYOP to get your ass in debt before you even start your career.
Well, you are coerced to go to high school. You can get in trouble if you don't go to high school, technically.
Well, I think 16, or at least in jurors it was 16.
So that's technically coercion. They're forcing you to go at the cost of you getting in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't have to take that loan. We encourage you to do it, young man, and it's probably beneficial for your future.
I mean, I would exactly. So it's a PSYOP at the end of the day. You don't have to take this loan out, but if you'd like to live a comfortable life and maybe make $70K a year, you're going to need this piece of paper.
Well, it's unfortunate that parents were duped, fucking guidance counselors were duped, or whatever it is. The best thing you can do is learn from your mistakes and then try to correct it in the future. But I haven't seen a single politician anywhere besides ending the Department of Education even talking about education.
Well,
besides we'll somehow give it more money because that'll fix it.
Right. Well, unfortunately, there's only usually one topic that comes up nowadays when we talk about education, and I'm just gonna let's just leave education alone for now. We'll come back to it later, unless
Yeah.
you want to add anything more. I don't really want to.
No, I just pretty much. I mean,
I wasn't even planning on talking about education.
I think you could probably get rid of most of the history classes because everything you learned in history was wrong, basically.
You could definitely get rid of a lot of classes. I mean, why do you
But
need 8 years of English? I mean, unless you want to be a journalist. Like,
Yeah, well, I think you need to be able to read and write.
absolutely. And you need basic grammar and command of the English language for sure.
Comprehensive reading.
Yeah.
Reading comprehension.
We could have been done with that shit in like 6th, 7th grade.
Well,
Instead, we had it from first grade all the way up to 12. And then you have to
Right.
take it again in college. What the fuck I need
Right.
English
You
Comp
should-
1 and 2 for?
So you should probably take it to 8th grade.
That's fair. Whatever
right.
we could sit back and forth and argue with the...
And some math and, some life science is
Yeah.
probably some good shit.
Yeah, you need basic math. Unless you want to go into physics, then yeah, you're probably going to need trig and calculus and all this other shit. But
Right,
those
but
should be
you- but you
those should
would
be
go-
optional.
But you would go to a special place that offered that. Because offering trig at a school where kids can't do math past the 7th grade is a waste of everybody's time and resources.
That's fair. All right, that's fair. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think we needed all those classes. I definitely need. I don't know about you, but high school, actually school in general for me was really difficult. I would literally just sit in class all day and like, if I wasn't goofing off with you guys, I would be like thinking about like a video game that I was playing and going home and what I was going to do on it. So I'm like already tuned out, right? Because the day is too fucking long. It's a whole work shift. I mean, if you really think about it, by the time you're out of the house, by the time you get home at the end of the day, it's like 8 hours.
Yeah, and now
That's
the
way
kids-
too
and now-
long to ask a kid to sit and behave.
Yeah, and now these kids have more homework than we ever did. They're like never out of school.
Another
Even in the
stupid
summer,
thing.
Even in the summer, it's like complete these 12 packets.
It's another stupid thing. I mean, how many times we have the answers in the back of the book, and you're literally doing your homework before class starts? Stupid.
You know what I mean? But that was also high school and shit. Like hypothetically,
You did that in middle school too. So did I.
yeah, but hypothetically, we wouldn't be doing things we didn't want to do that wouldn't be beneficial.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
you wouldn't be taking. I mean, I guess basic algebra maybe.
Well,
You
yeah,
have
yeah.
to go-
Math should go up to a certain degree. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should learn from here to here. And then if you want to go above and beyond, you can take all the other stuff, obviously. But yeah, does everybody need to know college algebra? How
I'm not
often do you
even
use
saying,
it?
like, you need to remember all these formulas because, again, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. Now you have a whole fucking computer in your pocket.
But again,
You
if
need-
that's not...
Wait,
ahead.
hold on.
Go ahead.
You need to understand how, even though you didn't do the math because the calculator did it for you, you need to understand how you got to the answer. Like if you're doing algebra, you got to know what you know what I mean? You got to at least
Why?
understand.
What if I want to be a journalist? What the fuck do I need equations for? Yes, you're going to need
Okay,
basic math.
okay, maybe algebra's too much. Maybe kids don't need
I think it
algebra.
is.
Okay.
And maybe that's the
before.
cutoff point. I think maybe mathematics, and then once you hit algebra, like that should all be optional. Geometry, I don't know, it's debatable, but I don't know. I just think that as you mentioned it earlier, like as a strong society has skilled workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's made up of a bunch of skilled workers. So instead of teaching everything to everybody, maybe we'd be better off just specifying them in the areas. Yeah, obviously give a base up to a certain level. Like you said,
Right.
maybe it's 6th, 7th, 8th grade, where everybody learns basically the same shit, and then you branch off and go and take stuff that's interesting
I
to you.
think that's much better because that's more of a free market option. Because you got to remember that the economy is constantly changing. So skilled workers might have a skill that just got destroyed by technology.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Now those people are unemployed, but they're also unemployed with the ability to go where they're needed. You know what I mean? As opposed to being like one of the things that Keynesian economics argues is that the most important thing is zero unemployment, have everybody working. And
It's a good thing.
Okay, well, in theory, that
In
is.
theory. It's impossible, but go ahead.
Okay, we even say you could do it, right? Say a doctor got fired for whatever reason, he lost his job, and the only job available is flipping burgers. How is that good for society? Wouldn't it be better for that doctor to take the 10 weeks to find a new doctor job?
Sure. Well, maybe we have some kind of program in place that.
Okay, well, exactly. So you not only is zero unemployment unachievable, it's undesirable.
It's fucking impossible. I mean,
No, but not only is it impossible because it's shifting so much. You know what I mean? Like when someone breaks technology or goes or finds a new way to do something, the talent follows it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when shitty jobs close for failure because the business sucked or whatever, or their job got outdated, you know what I mean? But you can't. It's never just going to stick and everybody and just go. It's constantly. It's like an environment. It's an ecosystem. The economy is an ecosystem, and it moves, and it's constantly changing.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't want to get into this whole thing because I could be here for another hour talking about it. But going forward, where we are now, with technology, there's going to come a time in the near future. We're going to see it in our lifetime where a lot of people are not going to be working because there's not going to be enough jobs. So I actually saw Elon talking about this the other day, which is funny.
Look at that. Okay.
What's that?
I said the other way to look at it is those people are now free to do something else.
Yes. So I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing, right? And what do I mean? What jobs? Well, a lot of jobs. Like you mentioned fast food. There's not going to be any fast food workers in probably 20, 30 years from now. It's all going to be AI. It's all going to be robot. And then that's going to happen for so many jobs. Like we even talk about surgeons. Well, at some point in the near future, there isn't going to be a human surgeon. It's all going to be machine because machines don't make mistakes. They're precise.
Accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be a fucking idiot if you went to see a brain surgeon in 2075. Why wouldn't you just go to the machine? It's
Their hands
quicker.
don't shake.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I think the point going forward is. A lot of people are not going to be working, and they're obviously going to need some form of income, whether the government, state supplies it. We'll get into that another time. But I think in many ways it's not a bad thing. Like you said, I have a lot of passions, but unfortunately I have to go to fucking work so I can pay my bills. What if I didn't have to do that? Well, then I can spend a lot more time doing things that I really love doing, creating things. Me and you could spend more time putting out episodes. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, And plus, for a lot of these jobs that the robots will take over, are not jobs that people really enjoy doing anyway.
It really doesn't matter what the job is. I mean, look how long robots have been working on cars.
Yeah,
we were in high school when we went to
the factory. Yeah, GM or whatever.
And they had the machines doing the hard stuff. So it's not gonna be like, oh shit, they built a robot. Now all these people are asked out.
It's gonna happen gradually. Yeah.
Everyone's free to do other shit. Remember, before there was a dishwasher, someone had to wash all those dishes. And then the housewife was free to do something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Laundry, the washer and dryers, all that stuff.
There was a time when being a housewife
was a full-time job.
I probably wanted to be being the housewife was probably harder than some of the men going out and doing their goddamn jobs.
Oh man, how do I be a housewife? I'd love to do that.
You
go to the factory, I'll stay home and watch the kids and do the laundry and shit.
You're home raising multiple kids, and back then you had to have a law because motherfuckers were dying. You know how many kids you're supposed to have?
How many kids you're supposed to have?
Yeah, everybody has one too many because that's how you know you had your last kid when you can't handle one. You always had one too many.
Well, what's the line?
It's a personal thing,
I wouldn't know. I don't have any kids.
How do you know when you have one too many?
Probably after that last one pops out, you're like, maybe we shouldn't have done this.
Maybe we shouldn't have
Don't tell little Frankie I said that, but yeah. Go ahead.
Before industrialization, people you worked on farms because you had to supply yourself with food. And then once the farming got more advanced, people were free to figure other shit out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think it's all a bad thing. My concern is just how they're going to provide us with currency once all of this starts really gaining steam. Like I said, I think it'll be more gradual. It's not just gonna.
What will happen is some wealth will still be created by the robots because the labor is still being done.
Well, no doubt.
While, resources are being used with labor to turn into something more worth more than you had when you started.
No
Well,
doubt. And you would think the cost of the product would be cheaper too, because they don't have
Well,
to pay for labor.
that only happens with zero inflation.
Well, it seems like we got our work cut out for us. Cause,
Well, we have a central bank because technically things would get cheaper because after you make the first invention, because it costs you a lot of time and labor to make the first one, the second one's easy and the third one's easier, and the fourth one's easier. So it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper until that is now the way to do things as opposed to what they did before.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about the first couple prototypes, and then once you put it into mass production, now it's even cheaper. So yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh yeah, we'll definitely probably return to this because I find this conversation interesting, and I never really much enjoyed working, to be honest with you. So I would much rather spend my time, doing other productive things.
It depends. I mean, if you love your job, and
I
you
think
get paid for it,
yeah,
good
yeah.
for you. But again, that's why they're like socialism, and it's nice to be able to be free. But if you were like, oh, I want to play the fucking oboe for the rest of my life, oboe players are not in very high demand. So you better be the best goddamn oboe player so you get hired.
Well, you might not have to though, because again, assuming that
But if you like to play the oboe.
Well, no, my point is,
if you like to paint, but no one wants to buy your shit, you got to do something else besides paint.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think you're going to have to, because I think again we're going to get some kind of. I'm just speculating, but eventually when we get to a certain point, right, where now X amount of the population is unemployed, right, because there's no jobs for them because robots have filled everything. Whenever we get to that point, whatever it is. At some point, the government's going to have to devise a way to get these people money. Again, they're not lazy. They're not, they're not losers. They're perfectly capable of working. There's just nothing for them to do. So we're going to have to supplement some currency for them, right? And that's going to, again, I think it's just going to be a gradual thing. As you see robots take over, more and more people are going to get a monthly paycheck for nothing, just to survive.
Okay.
Right?
But you can't give people a monthly paycheck to survive unless you take that money from somebody else first.
Well, therein lies the problem, which is why I'm concerned about it. Where's the money come from? Again, we're just bringing it out of thin air.
We're getting a little into the weeds on this now, but
Yeah, we are. But there has to be
I don't
something
know.
like
I
that.
don't know, how in the future you're going to have to be to. There's so many robots that nobody's working.
Well, what's the line? I don't know. Is it 5% of the population? Is it 50? I don't fucking know.
Well, I mean, unemployment got up to 25 to 30% during the Great Depression, right? Wasn't the highest it's ever been.
So yeah, is that the line? I honestly
No,
don't know.
I mean, it's again, it's not that unemployment is bad, because being unemployed isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you could be unemployed because you're moving up. You could be unemployed for a multiple of reasons.
Sure.
As long as you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily. I think everybody, as soon as they hear unemployment, they're like, "Oh, this person doesn't want to work." There's some people like that, of course. There's always going to be people like that. But no, the bulk of society, that's not the case. I think most people actually need something to do. But like you said earlier, most people don't love their job. A lot of people don't even like their job. They just do it because they have to.
Because they need the money.
Because they want to live in society, and I need money to pay the bills. Yeah, I think that's spot on, 100%. So if those people didn't have to go to a job, and they might not hate it, but if those people didn't have to go to the job that they didn't really want to work at to begin with, what would they do with their free time? Some people will sit here and just drink beer and watch TV all day.
Until they can't afford it.
Well, no. Well, again, if you're getting a monthly cut, whatever it is, $2,000 a month, $4,000 a month, $8,000 a month, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't matter, right? So they would be getting money rolling in. Obviously, it would be limited amount. So yeah, if you go and piss all your money away on the first day of the month, well, you're gonna wait until next month. Hope you got some food and water in the house.
What about rent and life?
Well, I don't know. I can only speculate. But the way that the system is now, we need money to pay rent, right? So that money's going to have to come from somewhere.
Money, again, is just a medium of exchange.
Yeah, yeah. It's IOU note. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know if anybody knows how this is going to play out. I just think it's funny because I was thinking about this a couple months ago, and then Elon exactly said what I thought the other day. He's like, oh, yeah, eventually there's going to come a time where, in the near future where a lot of humans are going to be out of work because robots have taken over. And Elon had suggested, like, again, same thing that, again, this might not even be the best answer, but he had suggested the same thing. He's like, no, people are going to get a monthly paycheck from the government just for existing, and that will be enough to, buy the things that they need and do what they need to do.
I don't know,
is everybody going to get the same money? I don't fucking know.
No, that sounds like
sounds like communism.
it sounds like a future utopia when the robots do all the work and the people can fucking eat grapes.
Well, that's essentially where we're going.
Yeah, the problem is,
I don't know where we're getting there.
I think he's dreaming. I think the problem is people, because people are going to people.
Well, what do you mean? So we're already on that train, like whether we want to or not, unless you want
The train for robots doing everything?
I don't know about everything, but the vast majority of jobs, yeah.
It might
on that
look
train.
like that, but I don't, but
I mean, how do you see this going any other way? You think people are going to be manufacturing cars and cell phones and, working at fast food joints, even restaurants? Yeah, there'll be some restaurants with real people, like real servers, real bartenders, because some people will want that genuine experience.
Right.
And that's how they'll market it to us. Oh, you want real people?
okay, yeah, I get it, but I mean,
But most of them are not going to be like that. They're
this
going
is
to be robots.
but this is a lot of different robots doing a lot of specific different jobs.
Right.
So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
When do you see it happening?
Much later.
Like
To the
today?
point where there's so many fucking robots that people don't have to work and we all live in harmony. I don't see that ever happening unless ever.
Oh, okay. I don't know about,
Not without like a huge one. I mean, you're talking about like Demolition Man type shit.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. There won't even be human cops. It'll all be AI. You won't be negotiating with the cop. They won't be shooting people on accident. There won't be any of that stuff. It's going to be all AI. When that's going to happen, I don't know.
Yeah, to have a utopia like that
Or it might be those dogs.
would be a world without freedom, without choice.
Yes and no. So I'm hoping that by the time we get to this point, we only need one or fucking two cops in the whole city because everybody is generally well behaved.
Okay, that's not. Okay, now you're fucking dreaming.
I am dreaming. I'm a dreamer, man. What can I
Because
say?
okay, well, come back to reality. Because
What is
people
reality?
because people are fucking people, and you're not going to be able to convince everybody to all of a sudden love each other.
Oh no, of course not, and they don't have to.
Okay.
That's never going to happen.
Okay,
I'm not
so
talking
then-
about you don't have to like your neighbor. You just have to be cool enough with them to not fuck with them, trash their shit, and hopefully they treat you with the same regard.
Well, that's what it is right. Technically, what it is right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think a lot of the times when you see people in uproars, right? It's either some staged riot by the Fed, or I think in many cases it's the poor folk, man. Because when you look at crime, what's the biggest cause of crime? And yes, there's many causes.
Yeah, there's other causes.
But what is the biggest cause of crime? There's a major correlation. These two things go hand in hand. I just said it.
Well, you're gonna say poverty?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. You look at all of the high crime, and I'm not talking about the white collar crime, the corrupt ass politicians and
Yeah, I know
business
what you're
people.
talking about.
I'm talking about like the people. When you say people are going to people, that guy that's whatever doing whatever. They're all poor people. So my suggestion to you would be if those people weren't poor, and they didn't grow up in poverty, do you think they would still behave that way? And this happens not just in this country; it's in every country across the globe.
You're gonna have poor no matter what. It's just the way it works.
Sure, and I think there's a way that you can have poor people and not have them act inappropriate like that. You can be poor and still not still own a home, still be able to make your payments on time.
I'm going to disagree. There's something more than just being poor. Because if you look at Thomas Sowell, one of my favorite economists, he writes a lot about this. Even 50, 40 years ago, there were still poor people, and there wasn't this shit.
And it's gotten worse. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It has gotten worse. But I think a lot of that is it's from other means. I think that's the powers that be sowing division in between us, the divide and conquer tactics that they use.
The drug market has a lot to do with it.
Sure.
There's a lot.
Who's funding the drug market?
Yeah, but not only is there money, it's when you have drug dealers, when you have drugs, you have drug dealers, and you have drug users.
Yeah, but that's where all the violence is coming from? Yeah, maybe among some of the dealers. Hey, you're on my street corner.
Yeah, see, there's not really that much. It's not, the violence is the way that people act isn't because they're poor.
Not just. That's fair.
Yeah, because I mean, there's rich people who are fucking shitbags, but even like I'm saying, years ago, even when Soul was still alive, when he grew up like in the 50s in Harlem, they were poor, but there was none of this behavior.
Well, I'm not saying all poor people act like that. I'm saying there's a direct correlation with poverty and crime. And if you want to eliminate crime, eliminate poverty.
Okay, well, let's be realistic. No, because you can't eliminate poverty.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I'll get you the information. You just can't do it.
Please, I'd love to see this.
But what has happened? I'll get you the information. It's impossible. But what is happening is that there are less poor. People are moving up the chain. I told you about that.
Some people.
The majority of the people who are considered poor gets less and less every year, which means they move to the middle class. The middle class is going down.
How are they moving up if they're getting less and less?
No,
or did you just word that wrong?
The amount of poor people is lowering.
Oh, okay.
Because they're moving to the middle class. The amount of middle class people is lowering because they're moving to the rich. I
would love to see this shit, man. Because I don't see this when I'm out on the street. I would love to see these where you're getting this from. I don't doubt your economic knowledge. I really don't. But from what I see in society right now, you're telling me that people are moving up and up and up? I'm not seeing any of it.
Well, again, that's what the numbers say, because the numbers are based off a certain set of objectives. So if you're considered rich at $200,000 a year, there's more people making $200,000 a year today than there were 10 years ago.
From the people that I know, people are struggling more and more.
It doesn't matter if you're struggling. That's what I'm saying.
I can't relate to that.
In 1990, there was this many poor people. In 1995, it went down, and it went down, and it went down. Same thing in the middle class. But in the rich, it went up. So people are moving. I mean, more people are moving into what's considered rich than any other class. The division is the super fucking rich and the rich.
You had mentioned that in the prior episode, and I don't want to challenge your economic knowledge because you'll just drag me down and beat the shit out of me in that regard. But I'm not seeing what you're talking about.
I'll show you the Davies. I got it. I'll send it to you.
I mean, I've been in 2 states in the past year, and I don't see any of this. Actually, I see it going the exact opposite way. And my coworkers and shit, people I talk to, people that are my age, our age, they say they're having a harder time now than they've ever had. So I'm not seeing any of it.
I'm talking over decades, not the last 4 years when the debt went up $20 trillion, and the inflation changed everything.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a massive contributor, no doubt. But yeah, it seems to me that it's actually getting worse. I know you're telling me that it's getting better and everybody's going up in tax brackets, but
I'm not saying anything. What I'm saying is getting better. It's not the same as what you're saying is getting better or worse. I'm talking about the amount of people in a category set by a specific set of rules is shrinking in the poor, in the middle, and growing in the rich.
Okay. Again, I believe you. I would like to see the data. I'm a little curious to know if they skewed it a bit because, like I said, in my experience,
Davies, he wouldn't skew it.
I don't know. All I know is in my experience, I haven't seen any of that.
He's
Not
not
from the
something
people
you
that I
see.
talk to.
Just because you still see poor people or see people struggling doesn't mean that the data isn't shifting.
Okay. I don't know, man. I can't even argue with you on it. I'm just saying, in my experience, I haven't noticed any of that. It's actually been the opposite. But I really do believe that there's this very strong correlation between poverty and crime. And if you
Yes,
reduce poverty, you will reduce crime.
I agree with that. We both agree there.
Okay. That's it.
But I'm
That's it.
saying-
That's all I got to say about it.
Okay, what I'm saying is that the level that it's come to. I mean, you're on Twitter now. You see all the videos of fucking kids wilding out everywhere, fighting everywhere, subways, buses, malls.
A lot of that's our culture.
Right.
We're telling them that this is cool because you can get more
Okay.
ratings and you'll make more money. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's not even kids TikToking. There's just hundreds of kids jumping on cop cars and shit. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah. I think there's reasons for that too. I can't really sit here and break down all of them, but
right. But what I'm saying is that
I think people are just typically unhappy. Go ahead.
okay, there's more than just saying you're poor, so there's crime. The crime levels we've got to now are more than just poverty. Well, I mean, I guess you could really bring it back to to after Kennedy was shot and the civil rights, all that stuff got signed in by Lyndon Johnson.
You're talking about like affirmative action and all that.
Well, the welfare state in general. That's when when they started incentivizing people to have babies and not get married, or locking fathers up for whatever reason, the breaking down of the nuclear family, which is one of the strengths of people.
Yeah.
And then add in drug crime and addiction. Fucking police, lack of opportunity. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, no doubt, the poor people have been suppressed for a long time now. And not all of them, of course, but in many cases. I don't have all the answers, man. I just, like I said, when I see crime, there's usually poverty included there somewhere, and it might not even be, like you kind of mentioned, like it might just be something stupid, like this guy got busted for selling weed or some shit, and now he's in jail for 10 years,
well, I can tell you that people aren't doing those mass shoplifting things because they live in poverty.
Oh, no, yeah, I think it's a combination. The mass ones, yeah, they're definitely highly organized, and they're doing it because they know they can get away with it. Those people.
Because we've incentivized them to do it.
Those people, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. But so since I witnessed, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, I witnessed a theft it was a CVS or a Walgreens or something I was in, right in front of me. Saw it. The lady saw it. They stole They stole it, but it was like a box of cookies, and they came up and they rang up one of the things. We're talking like fucking cheap ass cookies, nothing crazy. This ain't like Entenmann's or nothing like that. They rang one up, paid for it, and then they took off with the whole box. So they basically stole a whole bunch of them, and they're like little packets of cookies. Nothing crazy, cheap ass shit. This lady threw a fucking fit, chased them outside, ran out there screaming, and then I happen to be the next person online, so she comes back in and she's like, "Oh, fucking criminals!" Like she was like yelling at them, "You're all gonna burn in hell," and saying all kinds of shit. And then when she came back to the register, I think she was looking for like agreement, like for me, and she's like, "You believe that shit?" I was like, "Honey, they were stealing food," and she's like, "Doesn't matter what the fuck they stole." I was like, "Yo, you're an employee of Walgreens."
Paul, you telling me these kids stealing cookies? They're not stealing fucking bread or diapers or baby formula.
They were stealing cookies, Jeffrey. Maybe they had kids and shit and they couldn't afford cookies. I don't fucking know. I don't know why they were stealing them. But whenever I see somebody steal food, I ain't got nothing to say about it.
Did you steal food back in the day because you were fucking hungry and you're
Fuck
starving?
yeah, I would steal food if I was hungry. I'll fucking steal it right off your damn table. Let me get that slice of pizza. Remember that story, by the way?
Yeah, of course I
I
do.
don't want you to tell it, but it was funny.
Right, I mean-
Or you can if you want, but it was funny.
No, like if you're, it's like saying that when the rioters stole TVs, like, oh, they were just feeding their families. You're stealing a box of cookies, dude, not a fucking sandwich.
Yeah, which is, what's the difference? It's food, right? Just because it's not nutritious for you doesn't mean you can't eat it and get some
I'm
sustenance.
sure that he stole a box of cookies because he was fucking starving.
Maybe he was just stealing it just to steal it. I don't know. There was two guys.
I wasn't
I don't
there.
fucking
I'm not a
know.
fucking doctor.
But if I see somebody stealing food, I have nothing to say about it. If you want to say, "Oh my God, he's a fucking thief, what a terrible person," well, you say whatever you
Well,
want.
he's a
But
thief.
whatever.
It's reasons like that everything's locked up at Walgreens.
No doubt, everything is locked the fuck up there. Even drinks now. It's crazy.
See?
Yeah, you can't even get a fucking soda. Not that I drink it, but you can't even get a soda without calling them.
I mean, if you look at it this way, it's all part of the plan. Because if they can't trust you to go inside and do your own shopping, you'll order everything online and just walk by.
Yeah, and then they don't have to staff the stores or pay for the upkeep or the electric bill. Or yeah,
You'll walk by and pick up your order and you'll leave.
yeah, it's fair.
Or it'll
Maybe
come delivered
this
down.
is by design.
You
I don't
never
know.
have to leave at all.
Maybe. I don't know.
If you look at the way that they're pushing you towards like using the app, right? It's a good way to get rid of counter people. But if you want to order pizza or you want to do like these things, there's incentives to order from the app that you wouldn't get if you went in.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Like $1 off your sandwich at Wawa if you order on the app. If you
Sure,
order
free
on-
delivery, whatever it is. Yeah. No, you're right.
Because they're training us to not really have to deal with the people because they're going to be able to just pop it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no argument there.
I mean, it's more efficient for them. I get it. I would definitely do the same thing if you would incentivize people to use things. I just hate using my phone to order shit.
Yeah, from a company standpoint, from a money standpoint, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why would you want a retail store, when you have to pay all of this upkeep, pay all these employees, when you could just have a little,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, yeah, no, you're right. Anyway,
Yeah, man, it's been
Yeah.
a long one.
What's
Let's cut
that?
this. Let's cut it.
Yeah, it's been a long one, man. I don't even know if we're gonna be able to put all this up on YouTube, but I'll try.
You
Might
can,
have to
if
do
you-
it in 2 installments.
If you want to break into 2, that's fine. But still put it up as 1 and also put it up as 2.
It may force me to. X and Rumble definitely will. What I'll do this time, which I should have done last time, is if I have to kind of break it up into 2 parts, I'll post the first part and then I'll put the second part in a first comment if it lets me. So this way that they're on the same
If you gotta put it into 2, just put part 1, part 2, but whatever. But I gotta go because I gotta piss now.
Heard. All right, y'all.
I'll talk
Peace.
to you. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, later.